Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Borough Green Tree Council meeting for Monday, September 9th, 2024. We will stand for a moment of silence and then pledge allegiance. And since we have 9/11 is 2 days away, good time to everybody to remember that event and what it's transformed and how it's changed the way we do things. We'll have a moment of silence and then our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jim, I would like a roll call.
Ms. Barron?
Here.
Mr. Panza?
Here.
Mr. Ray?
Here.
Mr. Romanovich?
Here.
Ms. Schwartz?
Here.
Mr. Tintori?
Present.
Mayor Shank?
Present. Thank you. Next up is the approval of the minutes from the August 5th, 2024 meeting.
Second.
Need a motion?
Motion.
Need a motion? Okay, you're moving? Okay, then we need a second. Second, there we go, motion and second. Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion-
Abstain. I wasn't here.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'll abstain because I was remote and couldn't hear the whole thing.
Okay. That's fine.
Did you hear my motion? It was very, very tricky.
Okay.
To hear the full meeting.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes.
prior to the hearing of the citizens, I would ask for a point of privilege, please.
Certainly.
Thank you. Sitting here today, knowing that I'm going to be leaving Braintree in a few short months. With that said, I am resigning my position as a member of council effective immediately. This decision was not taken lightly, and contrary to the rumors, I am not being quote unquote ran off council or quote unquote resigning because of the community pressure. It is important to share the following so everybody understands and it is clear. A year ago, my family started a path down trying to build a new home within the community of Green Tree. Unfortunately, there were no lots suitable to build what we want. So we made a decision to stay in Green Tree and we poured a decent amount of money into upgrading our home. So fast forward to July 18th of this year, as we were driving to a friend's home, we passed a new construction community and decided to drive through. With the major discussions on all that needs to take place on making that type of decision has already happened. We just simply explored the model homes and building. After lengthy discussion on the positives and negatives of building outside of Green Tree, we made the decision that we feel is best for our family and signed a contract in early August. Thus, we're building a new home outside of Green Tree. It's been an honor to serve on this council. Green Tree is a great community. It's a community that's been growing up in the city I wanted to live in, and I have for the past 14 years. Thank you for your faith in me over the last few years, and I hope that I have left a positive mark in all that I have worked hard to do for Green Tree. The reason why I'm doing this now and not in February when I decide to move is because I cannot in good conscience sit here and continue to vote on issues that are going to have short and long-term impacts on this community. It is unfair to this council. It's unfair to you. It's unfair to everybody that pays taxes in this community, the business and individuals. So therefore, I am resigning effective immediately. Again, I thank everybody for their time. And I hope to see a lot more community engagement as we're seeing right now. Stay informed. Stay informed. Stay informed. That is your responsibility. Stay informed. Thank you. Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll go on first.
Okay, next up, we have the hearing of citizens.
And before we begin, I would just like to remind anybody who's been here before or any new faces here tonight, this is the opportunity to provide public comments for council to consider. It's not a formal question and answer by any means. I did see some of the posters in the first row. Again, I would just ask, because we have such a full house tonight, if anybody, just please do not be repetitive with your comments. Thank you.
Christine Short, 251 Park Edge. I wasn't here last month, and I was hoping maybe somebody on the committee up here that's on the committee for the rec board will bring some of these issues up, but they don't. So I like to do a shout out to Jen Matthews, Amelia and Abby, and all the counselors and volunteers that ran our summer rec program. We limit it to 200 kids. We have a lot of counselors and volunteers, and without them, we wouldn't be able to run this program. They also help us during 4th of July as well. So I like to do a shout out to that whole team, and I hope they all come back. I know we have to coordinate schedules because some of them are lifeguards, and they can only work so many hours a week. On second, August 4th was our senior picnic. We had 100+ seniors. It went very well, from what I understand. I wasn't here, but the rec board, we had our meeting. It went very well. We had a lot of different ideas, and we ran with those ideas, and it seemed like everybody was happy. With that leading up to it, we have 8 weeks left of our farmers market. The rec board was, we were running with this farmers market. It seems to be doing well with the food trucks. The farmers are happy. And it also gets our seniors out too for like a senior check. So that way they know what's going on in the borough. Our Halloween is October 26th at 5 o'clock at the firehouse. Our wreath making got moved to the borough building. That is November 21st at 7 o'clock. And last but not least, our light up night, we have a new date. It's November 23rd. Due to some schedules, that was the date that we came up with. Unfortunately, that's the city of Pittsburgh's light up night, but you know what? After we're done with our light up night, they can go to the parking lot and watch the fireworks.
Good evening, council. I'm MK Sportsbaker. I'm at 1195 Green Tree Road. I want to start by saying thank you. I know that you all volunteered to be here, to be a part of civic action. That's what we are all doing here too, spending an evening away from what we could be doing to participate in this conversation. I know it's not a conversation, but to participate in the dialogue about this, to be heard. I know that in the context of your duty, you took an oath, and I am certain that that included an oath to be transparent, or at least a requirement to be transparent and accountable. So I rise to speak about the pool. We're told that decisions were made about the pool from data-driven positions. The data informed those decisions. And I'd like to believe that. But I can see no reason why answers can't be made available if there's good data. I can see no reason why all of us have so many questions about how that process happened, about what's happening, about why decisions were made. And I can tell you that these are impactful to us. My young daughters are swimmers, both of them. They're on the swim team. And I'm a lifelong swimmer. I can tell you that the current pool is quite suitable to our uses. And the next plan, from what I can tell, doesn't appear to be, specifically for us, the 4-foot distance. And I know that council discussed the difference between 4-foot depth and 5-foot depth. But I rise with a simple question. Why? Why wasn't that followed through? And I know that you aren't going to answer it right now, and that's okay. But I ask you to reconsider. There's not a lot that I think we're here asking for, other than things that are essential to good government. Transparency and accountability. So I ask, please, take a moment, consider the oath, and reconsider what we're asking of you. That could be as simple as providing information. It could be as simple as providing answers. But you need a minute to do it. And the current plan, proceeding on the current timeline, does not do that. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tammy Feeney, 55 Rhodes Avenue. I'm asking you to put a pause on the pool project and gather more information. I'm also asking you to listen to and include the community in your decision-making on this and future issues within the borough. The community said many questions to council that they wanted answered, and other than David, Shannon was the only one to respond, though she didn't answer much of anything. David has been very open and has provided the community with as many answers that he possibly can. I find it mind-boggling that council that was elected by the community continues to disregard the voices of those that elected them. We have hundreds of signatures on a petition, emails have been sent to you, and phone conversations have been had. Yet you still avoid providing the community with legitimate data as to why we should go with the smaller pool. How many people will it take until you say to yourself, we need to pause? All I hear is to reach out to council, yet when we do, there are no responses or we are given the runaround. It's not too much to ask you to consult stakeholders in the decision-making process in regards to the pool. It's not too late to pause things and do it right. There's no reason that the pool can't be the same size as the existing pool. We've talked many times that reducing the pool size will limit the space of pool users as well as impact the water aerobics program. I know you were looking to make the lanes a little bit larger than the 4 foot. And I believe that's going to be discussed this evening, but why not just go 5? We know that there's a safety concern. I've heard a few comments about how it will cost more to run the pool, but I believe with the updated pumps, it will be less to operate than where we are presently. As I understand, the pool didn't really leak as much as it has in years past. Why not get our ducks in a row, work together by pausing things and getting input, open the pool next summer, and proceed with the pool that makes sense for our growing community, and break ground the day after Labor Day next year. It's important that council is transparent, communicates better, and is held accountable in all matters to become effective leaders in this borough. This is a compassionate community that wants the best for one another and deserves nothing less. A lot of you are parents, and I'm sure you teach your children to stick up for themselves and fight for what's right and what they believe, and that's why we are here tonight. Do you know that the greatest communicators are the best listeners? It's time for you to listen to the people and hear their voices. It's time to pause this project.
Hi there. My name is Nicholas Callis. I live
Pardon me?
on Forest Drive.
I'm sorry, could you slow down? I didn't hear you.
My name is Nicholas Callis. I live on Forest Drive.
Okay.
Yes, so, I've been going to the pool for my entire life. And it means a lot to me, and I don't quite understand the changes that you guys want to make to it. My main point of contention today, though, is to talk about, media and today's world of communicating. I work in Bethel Park. I'm part of the government there. I know a lot of the stuff that goes around with the council meetings. They're having one right now. And I'm a part of the public access TV station. So I make a lot of content that, residents want to make there. And, the mayor even has a show. So he talks a lot about the community and stuff, and council people talk, and the municipal manager talks as well. The reason why I bring this up is because in a part of my job that I work in Bethel Park, I found out that Green Tree has a community television station that right now is just rotating pictures of bulletins and information around over and over again with not even music. It's very bland. And why I bring that up too is because there's several communities that I know about in the Western Pennsylvania area
that have community media and broadcast council meetings. There's plenty of different ways that I believe that are cheap and effective and give you the ability to communicate with people. We have a live stream running tonight on Facebook just to demonstrate how simple this can be to just set up a stream and reach a lot of people and make sure that people are informed. And so I learned that there's no communication department within the borough either. There's just the municipal manager or the secretary from what I understand. There's no communication team. There's nobody who's dedicated and present in communicating with the people who are specialists at fielding questions, finding the right people to get answers from, and then communicating the best possible way. If I had known Green Tree had a community TV station, I would have been way more active in my high school years trying to come here and maybe make content. You know, I mean, phones can do so much now. You don't need the fancy cameras or anything like that. There's plenty of ways to create content and reach people and give people the opportunity to have a voice. Even opportunities for kids in high school who could volunteer and work under one person. Again, it's there's a lot of simple ways to do things, and I want to see if this television station that you guys have could be more impactful if you guys used it a certain way or invested in a communication department with specialists who can maybe make your lives easier. Maybe just make it more easy for people to reach you guys as council people, or you guys to reach the community. And with that, I'm complete. Thank you.
Sam Salopek, 1195 Green Tree Road. I want to talk about the poor communication that we have all experienced, not only during the course of this project, but over the course of your times on council. During the June 17th workshop, Mr. Coliati noted his concern over the borough's lack of communication when promoting the pool project and the pool meeting. Despite Mr. Coliati's voiced concerns of poor communication and advertisement of the meeting regarding the pool design vote, borough government made no changes to the communication tools they employed to notify the community about the pool design vote that was rescheduled for July 1st, and they held the vote. The borough government's persistent lack of communication continued. On August 14th, a community organized meeting gathered and community input, compiled that information, and sent it via email to council on August 17th. In all, we set 5 pages of questions, concerns, and thoughts. We received a response from Councilmember Barron on August 27th. Though we appreciate Councilmember Barron's response to our original email, it failed to address our valid questions, thoughts, and concerns. I'll show several examples of input gathered during that meeting that specifically addressed borough's lack of communication. Question: why is there a lack of clarity regarding this project? Question: why can't information regarding this project be communicated to the Green Tree newsletter every quarter? Question: why wasn't this advertised better to the community? Question: why can't we better advertise workshop sessions before they occur versus the vote after the vote is done? Comments: give more information to the residents in a timely manner. Be transparent. This resident just wanted you to communicate and answer their questions. Provide an official statement, an infographic, something that explains the decision-making process, information that was considered, research that was conducted, community input that was gathered, something that will tell the public the reason that this design was the right choice for the community, both now and in the future. This resident wants you to get better at communicating. This resident wants you to be transparent on all borough matters. And I could go on, but I think I made my point. The community is asking something from you, and we will continue asking until we receive the acknowledgement and response that we deserve. We want communication. We want council to address the lack of opportunity of notice and comment from the public when promoting pool design workshops and meetings, as highlighted by Mr. Coliati's June 17th statement. Specifically, council must address the absence of pool project postings at the Wilson Park Pool, postings on the borough website, the exclusion of the pool renovation project from the Green Tree newsletter, and the failure to use automated notifications and social media postings that clearly noted pool design workshop opportunities. Council must remedy the failure to solicit stakeholder involvement by publishing answers and responses to questions regarding the pool renovation project and publishing specific information and processes that council and committee used when evaluating the pool design. We want transparency. We want accountability. We want a vote to pause the pool project to be added to the agenda. Thank you.
Anybody else?
not even listening.
Excuse me, could you,
I'm sorry.
we didn't ask for your comments, thank you. Just have to have some respect here.
I called for asking.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jane Caroline, 14 Elmhurst Road. My comment is with regards to a weed garden that grows on Green Tree Road. It's at the address of 1080 Green Tree Road, right across from the hardware store, where I know several council members drive by. It's hideous, and it's on Green Tree Road. Everybody sees it, and I'm just wondering why nobody has done anything about addressing it. I have pictures of it. It covers half the sidewalk. I can pass them around, but there's,
You read them up, email that to me?
I'm just really surprised nobody has seen it or commented, because every time you go to the hardware store and you walk out, you see weeds. It's the medical benefits building, the baby blue one. It's not about the pool, but it's about Green Tree looking every day.
Green Tree Borough.
Okay,
Thank you.
John Poplar, 57 Roads. Last month during the meeting, we had a gentleman step up to the podium here and bring an idea to council that I thought was really ingenious. Solar panels. I don't know if anyone on council in the past month has even looked into this, but I would like council to appoint someone to do some research. I have solar panels on my house. 14 panels are on my house. It cost me $0 to put them panels on my house. I have a contract with Sonova and Trinity Solar. And I have a 20-year contract with them. They guarantee the kilowatt increase for Sonova to charge me will not go up more than 3 cents a kilowatt every year in that 20-year term. Now, I think if you look at Duquesne Light, they're looking at 7 to 9 cents a kilowatt increase if they can get it. My thoughts are, you put solar panels on that municipal building that's sitting right there at the pool. You could generate, I'm sure, enough electric to heat that pool, run all the electric and the pumps, and it wouldn't cost you anything close to what you're paying Duquesne Light right now. I would like to see someone look into that, because my bill with Sonova is less than $80 a month. And this past 3 months, I paid Duquesne Light like $24. So for less than $100, I had all the electric in my house taken care of, including air conditioning running all those hot months of the summer. And guess what? The pool was only open those hot months of the summer. So I really would like to have someone on council look into this. I'm sure you could get a federal grant that will pay for these solar panels. You may not even have to go into a contract with someone. You might be able to buy them like my brother in Florida did and put them on his house. So he owns them. Now my contract, the way it works, after 20 years, I own the solar panels. I can do whatever I want with them. If I sell my house, the people who own my house have the opportunity to keep them on their house if they want and take on the contract. So I really think council would do themselves a big savings favor here by having someone look into this and possibly save the community a lot of money. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Tom Sullivan, Park Edge Road. So a couple of things that, to Nick is the communication through the broadcast system you currently have. It was the hardest YouTube video I've ever sat through in my life. I skip as much as I can and you can't see people. The person that's speaking at this podium at the moment By the time they walk away, their sentence starts. That's unacceptable. Nick has his camera set up to run on a live stream. I want to say it might be 15 seconds behind, maybe. I was sitting there listening as that gentleman was talking. So technology is here, we just have to use it. There's a way to get the communication out to us, the citizens, and that is a simple way. All it is a phone that you all dearly hold in your hands through every meeting. And I can hear the people back here speak as they're saying, and whether you're taking notes or what it may be. But like you tell your kids, put the phone down, I'm talking to you, right? Now on to the subject at hand that everyone here cares deeply about is this pool. You've had more people talk to you about a pool in 2 months than have had conversations with you the entire time you've been on this board. And I look at all of you, because I honestly haven't seen any of you anywhere, except for Mr. Mayor and Mr. Reddy. I'm a man of faces. I might not know your name, but if I see you, I normally will say hi. And anyone in here knows that I'm a talker, and I do take my moments to say hello to people. So about the pool, I have 2 young ones that are in this community, love this community, never want to leave a minute of it because of the other kids that are here. The pool shrinking in size is pointless. The children in the community are growing. Sorry for the elders that are here that are gonna be passing. They're not gonna be playing in it. The children are. But that's why they're here. They're here for the children, not them. Thank you. I've heard so many compelling arguments of why the larger pool is more important, why it's better for the community. I've yet to hear one argument supporting a smaller pool, a more expensive pool at all. There's Facebook warriors all over this phone. I have yet to see one throw one reason of why this smaller pool, shallower pool is a great idea. So please, Facebook warriors, you see me on the community groups. I like half of the things that Dave Ray says. I put my thumbs up. Some people want to put a laugh face, just that, whatever. But by all means, post what your reason is that you want this smaller pool. If you're in this room, here's your chance to talk to the community. Sorry, Channel 4. I'm not paying for that. But here's your chance to speak up and say why your pool, your smaller pool that you want. If you're in this room, please explain to us. You're not going to get an answer from council that they agree to you, but maybe we'll listen. I'm a person of debate. I'll listen to people. If they can sway me in their reasons that the pool's better, sure, I'll stand behind you. You're not gonna get me on a more expensive and smaller. That'll never happen. But by all means, give it a try. That's all I gotta say. Hopefully you guys reconsider.
Anybody else? Yeah. Thanks. Hi, Russ Barron, Coconut Drive. I wanted to rise and give a couple of remarks, because I'm the owner of the laugh react emoji on that Facebook group. Thank you, thank you. Also, as one of the people in that echo chamber, I think it's important that council hear from someone who disagrees with the small vocal minority present tonight. The small vocal minority who's here tonight. Thank you. I feel it's important that you hear from someone who's proud of the work the council's done, proud of the data-based decisions that they have made over the last few months related to the school, and deeply, deeply saddened by the conduct of some members of this body, as well as some members of this community, and how they react to members of this council and their families. My family's had to endure snide comments, snippy remarks, things that shouldn't be said in public,
directed at us in Facebook forums, directly at the pool, here at this meeting tonight. That's uncalled for. I think we should all remain civil, and we should all do our best to engage not only with our fellow residents, but also with council, which is a great point. Of all the people here tonight demanding information from council and demanding transparency and accountability, I would love to see some of them reach out to their council members individually and ask why they voted certain ways.
We did.
With all due respect, you reached out as a collective body, sending hundreds, dozens, however many questions there were. I've been to those meetings, I understand how it went and what was on those post-it notes. I also understand that sitting across the kitchen table from a council member, how many of you actually reached out personally to a council member to address your concerns? And the answer is less than one hand fingers. I think that's a shame. If we're going to base our community reactive politics on what we think we know versus what we actually know and what the facts are, I think that's shameful. I think that talking over people as they speak is also shameful. But here we are, we're giving each other a respectful forum to discuss these issues. And I think that we would all do very well to lower the temperature in the room and approach each other as face to face as people we have shared meals with, our neighbors, our colleagues, our friends in this community. I think we can all learn something from a bit of civility. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Am I able to? Tell me again.
We got someone else that wants to say something.
Hi, my name's Diane Roach. I live on Green Drive. I wasn't planning on coming up here, but after listening to everything, I just feel I need to put my kind of 2 cents in, my opinion. I know that I am someone who goes to the pool every day with my grandkids. I am there. I cannot tell you any of you that I've seen at the pool. I've never seen any of you at the pool sitting with grandkids or kids or anybody. But I am there mostly every day. I was there till I went on vacation in August, and then we came back, it was bad weather. I pay money for my grandkids who don't live in Green Tree to come into the pool. I spend money on half the kids in the pool buying food for them. Those kids love that pool. The one thing you're talking about taking away where the 3-foot 4-foot is, that's where all the kids are. That's how they learn to swim. They stand in that 2 feet and then they learn how to swim. They started putting their hands underwater. I just don't understand why. And I was one of the ones that asked what the problem was with the pool. They said there was a leak. Fix it. Why do we have to spend 3 to 5 million on a pool because it has a leak? Or if it does, or if we can't do that, let's just stick to what the pool is and fix the leak. Stick with our pool is now. I don't know. I just feel that I'm not at your council meetings, but believe me, I've been to your Zooms, a few of them, especially during COVID, especially when we were having problems with the pool one time, and also was fighting. You guys were fighting between all of you. So what fun? Oh, I know we were fighting, and then you ended up not doing the agenda. You said we'll pick it up next week. I think it was about pool, how when we could bring people into the pool. If we had friends, we could bring in the pool, and people didn't want to bring in people into the pool. But that doesn't matter. I just think if you guys are up there, I go to the pool there every day. I stopped at the borough building and asked why I didn't even know about the pool getting changed and closed for a year. They said that they put a sign up at the pool. I go to the pool every day. I look at the signs in the little case for the movies and the different things that are going on in Green Tree. There was never any sign there. At least when I'm there, I mean, I can tell the lifeguards see me up there. I mean, I'm there. My kids are up there, my grandkids. I can follow them up sometimes. And they had friends from KO, and then all of us go up and buy popsicles. I just don't understand why this decision was made without, so when I came up, by the way, when I came up from vacation, we heard it was on TV that the pool was going to be changed. I didn't even do it. I lived in Green Tree and I was at the pool all the time. I didn't hear anything about that. I don't come to your meetings. I was working as a nurse and I was busy and I worked nights and evenings. I worked a lot during COVID. And I recently retired, so now I have time. I just feel that if you guys could have just, even in the Green Tree paper, I read the Green Tree paper every time we get it. There was nothing in there about the pool being, making a vote on the pool, changing it. If you have $5 million thing that you're gonna change, how can 6 people make that decision? How can 6 council people vote on a poll and say, we're doing this? And all the people in the community don't even know about it. And people in the pool would have been talking about it if it was known at the pool, because everybody sits together on, parents and grandparents all sit together, and kids are in a little pool, and we enjoy it, it's very nice. And the bigger kids can go down to the end, and there's a diving board, and there's always adults in the swim lanes. Always have adults in the swim lanes, so, I mean, I don't know why you're taking 2 out. That I always see adults in the swim lane, so, I don't know, I'm just giving my opinion. I'm sorry, I just feel I lived in Green Tree for 35 years, 36 years. I don't understand how council people can go up there, 6 of you, for a whole borough of Green Tree, and make a decision about making a new pools, sign it, making everybody get their yays, and that's it. I don't understand. I think council is, you're like, we are the ones that hire you. We vote on you. And I think if you can't be transparent with us, you can't be transparent with us, or let us know what's going on so we can give our opinion, or even put it on the ballot. Then you should be our council people. And we should go and vote next time for somebody else who will advocate for us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Slava Baran, 128 Sheldon Avenue. I need short information. I really don't know who made this decision. And I want to know who general construction for that. Who made decision to take this deal. I need all this information. Who is general for this project? And who made decision to take this contract? Can we have this information, all Green Tree? Who made decision take?
We don't have any contractors. No, this thing hasn't been bid on.
Oh, okay, so.
We're not even,
It's on the process.
we're not that far.
Okay,
We don't have any general contractors
okay, here we
who's gonna
go.
build the.
So, I can personally help for that. I know a lot of construction. And we can do better.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher Allen, 252 Park Edge Road, 1000 Green Tree Road, and 996 Green Tree Road are my properties. I'm here because I just want to announce, number one, my intent to fill one of those 2 spots up there with all of you guys. And number 2, we were told that there is a small vocal minority by Shannon's husband. And I want to know where the data is from the large silent minority. Because we haven't heard it, we haven't seen it, I've asked, believe me, I've asked. I actually was probably the only person here that spoke to Shannon directly on the phone. We had a lovely conversation. But again, we talked about fertility rates, we talked about square footage of human bodies, but not once did I hear anything about, we sure did. Not once did I.
Bodies, we did not.
We talked about square footage of other pools.
Something that is not correct. We did not talk.
We talked about square footage of people in a pool. Is that not correct?
You're talking.
Well, then a human is a body, correct? Okay. But not once have I heard about the heart of our community. Not once have we talked to the community members. Not once have we asked the community members, other than a workshop here and there that was, under the guise of different things. It's the only time. So all I'm saying is, please, just listen to the heart of the community, because that's really what keeps this community going. Thank you, everybody.
Pete Garrettson, 1163 Trainer Avenue. I'm here just to put my support behind, pausing this pool project. Kind of echoes something that Chris said there, talking about finding the information from the large silent part of our community. I know as a father of 3 young kids, just how busy young families are. Tonight, there's a bonfire for homecoming at Aiken Park. It's KO Youth Night at the high school soccer game. There are several softball games and baseball games going on. And many of my friends in the community that also support this are at those things with their kids. And so while we have a duty to understand what's going on in our community and try to seek out what's going on behind your table up there, I think it's only right that, especially in matters of this size, that a better, more authentic effort is made to try to find out what people really feel about these decisions. I have, like I said, I have 3 young daughters. My wife and I have lived here for 10 years. We plan on living here forever. Green Tree is a small, wonderful community. We don't have many assets. Okay, as evidenced by Mr. Romanovich, speaking at the beginning, you know, some of the bells and whistles that draw people to other communities, housing, new housing plans, bigger homes, brand new schools. We don't have that here in Green Tree, but we do have a wonderful, wonderful pool. And it's very important to the culture of this community, to the fabric of this community, to the families that make up this community, the new ones that we hope will move into this community, and the young ones who have moved here and are choosing to stay here. And so for a decision that's gonna, you know, impact the next 50 years, my entire time in this community, I would just ask that you pause this decision and you seek more information from your stakeholders so we can make a more informed decision on this project. I'd also like to second the weed garden on across from Mace Hardware.
Anyone else? Okay, we will move on to our business here. Number 1 is a community pride presentation. The proclamation honoring the lifeguard rescue efforts at the Green Tree Borough Wilson Swimming Pool.
I'm gonna table that for tonight, Mr. President. As was mentioned, there are several KO big events happening tonight, and hopefully we have anybody in the audience that's being recognized. But we have at least 2 typos on the names on the proclamation, so I'd like to table that until our October meeting.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, should there be a motion?
We have a motion and a second to table it. That's
I'd like to make a motion that we table the community pride.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We move ahead. Okay, we'll move on to some other new business. First off, I'd like to make a motion to accept the resignation of James Trosi, who sent us a letter of resignation effective August 6th. So I need to make a motion to accept that resignation. I need to have a motion.
I make a motion. Motion that we accept the resignation of Jim Rossi.
We have a motion, we need a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a
But
second.
some 30. I thought under the new law of Pullman versus Parkland School District, that we cannot add any motions to the agenda.
Motion.
It's on there. It's on.
So it is.
But we, there's,
When
it's not
did
a
that go
time.
on? When did that go on?
It's been there
Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, Tim, I thought we were doing.
Yeah, no, it's,
Right.
it's.
Okay.
We're doing.
Yeah, great.
No.
All under.
Oh,
This would be announced.
Yeah.
We're doing James Thoreau.
Well, I just want to make sure everything's done right. It's okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to accept the resignation. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? That motion passed.
I have a comment about that. Can we add to the agenda the acceptance of Mr. Romanovich's resignation?
So under the charter as written, it would have to be announced at the next regularly scheduled meeting. That's just the process that's provided for under the charter.
And in light of the resignation of Mr. Troisi, Mr. Romanovich, Public Safety Committee is now a number of 1 plus plus Art if he is filming that, so we only have two. Should we do the temporary reorganization of the committees? There's some really critical things that are happening in public safety and I need support.
Well, I'll have to sit down and do that at this point in time, we'll have to figure out what we're doing. First time we've had all these things, we can do it within the next week.
What should I do in the meantime? Because I need answers for some,
I'll find out in the next day or so, try to see what we got. And then he's gonna explain the situation further.
I was just gonna, as a point of clarity going forward, so obviously Mr. Teresi resigned. So that vacancy will be published and posted, and Ms. Miller, that's going out on, this upcoming Thursday, correct?
For Teresi.
Yes, for Mr. Teresi, I believe. So residents have 10 days from the date of the posting and publication to request an interview. I believe that there's a workshop meeting coming up on September 30th. I think it makes sense for council to hold public interviews prior to that meeting, since everyone's already going to be here. Interviews.
but we might be doing police interviews that night.
Well, that's just,
It's not one of the nights.
It's not one of the nights.
No, I did
Okay.
first, second.
so essentially, whenever the interviews are scheduled, so long as they're held, any eligible residents have the opportunity to apply to be appointed as the council person to the end of Mr. Teresi's seat, which expires on January 2026. The advertisement will set forth how you can apply. You can email your application, your resume, letter to me, or drop it off. And then council has 60 days from, from this upcoming Thursday to vote on the next appointments.
Okay, that explains the process, wherever we're going. Okay, we'll move on to finance and general policy, and since Jim is not with us, I will take this. First off, I'd like to make a motion to ratify the action for the borough manager in paying the August 2024 invoices to the general fund totaling $82,258.51. Capital projects funding totaling $30,791.70. Payroll account fund totaling $245,250.18. Educational service agency funding totaling $585.33. And credit card June 2024 totaling $9,557.03.
Second.
You have a motion and a second, any further? Yeah, sorry. Oh, okay, I thought, okay, we have a motion and a second, any further discussion? If not, I would like, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
I'm abstaining.
Okay, okay, so opposed? Abstaining?
Yeah, I'm abstaining because we are reimbursing someone in my family.
Okay, I understand. So we can do a simple. Yeah, okay, so that must. Next up, approve payment of the, I'd like to make a motion to approve payment of the September 2024 invoices from the general fund totaling $206,456.26. Storm sewer fund totaling $43,131.98. Sanitary sewer funding totaling $13,699.77. Capital projects funding totaling $89,797.27. Bond fund totaling $72,457.14. The fire department apparatus fund totaling $12,669.95. Need a second. Okay, we need a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Next up, I'd like to introduce resolution 1351. I would like to move for a vacant property lot as lot and block number 67-R325. So I would move that we adopt resolution 1351, proving that the acquisition and subsequent disposition of the parcel of vacant property known as lot and block 67-R-325 would be in accordance with the comprehensive plan of the municipality.
Second.
Have an explanation of that. You wanted to put that.
This is just a program that's run by Allegheny County. It's a vacant piece of property that is no longer being intended to by the owner. You can apply and it's tax delinquent for several years. You can go through this county program to secure that lot.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'd like a roll call vote, Kim?
Ms. Barron,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz,
Yes.
Mr. Tintori.
Yes.
Could we put on the record the location of the property?
It's, is it on Wednesday? I have it. It is down in.
It's in Rook. It's a corner, an empty corner lot that I believe the taxes have been dealing with that for 60 years. Like it's literally like whoever owned it at some point probably passed and nothing's been done with it. It's very simple.
Thank you.
And that ends the financial and general costs. Does anyone want to take infrastructure? Right, that committee want to take it? You'd like to?
All right, infrastructure. I move that we award a contract to Wilson Excavating and Utility Construction LLC for the 2024 to 2029 sanitary sewer operations and maintenance CCTV program as outlined in the Borough Engineer Manager's correspondence dated August 26, 2024. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Judy, can you explain this?
Yes, so this is part of our sanitary sewer requirements for us to continuously monitor our sanitary sewer lines to ensure they're in good working order, to ensure that there's no inflow and infiltration. Green Tree is very fortunate to have a separate sanitary / storm system, which is, pretty, not really uncommon, but we're very fortunate that we've not had to undergo a lot of the separation that a lot of communities do because it's quite expensive. But this just is a program we've actually expanded it. It was on a 3 to 5 year program. We've expanded it out to 10 years so that we could expand our reach and make sure we're looking at all of our sanitary lines to ensure they're, a good working order to, be potentially line them before they would collapse and end up with full excavation. So it's a great program that we're seeing through.
What's the, I don't see the bid tabulation sheet. And the minutes. The amount that is to be paid.
It's, I know it was 57,000 some change. I believe that was in the engineer's correspondence. Sure.
That's good. I don't see the bid tabulation sheet.
The full bid tab shouldn't, I don't know if that was in it because it was several pages long because it goes through various size segments of pipes and it goes through, there's televising, there's flushing, there's cutting. So it was an extremely extensive bid tabulation that you can study. It's sort of, so that's probably much.
Well, we don't have, at least, unless I'm missing something, we have nothing on the price. We don't have the bid tabulation sheet that's referenced in the correspondence from Mr. Stanton.
I believe there is one page missing that did have the summary of the prices, 57,000 per year. That's for several through 2029.
The lowest bid.
Yes, but it was, Wilson is the lowest bid.
Compared to what?
That's it.
We have a motion on the table to approve this amount where we don't have the bid tabulation sheet. Can we table this until next month?
Sure. I can't tell you that it Wilson was the lowest bid and was recommended by the engineer.
So we have a motion out there with a second.
Oh, I'll second that.
No, it's already.
It's already
no,
second.
It's already second. We can just vote on it. Because we have to vote on it since we have a motion second. So all in favor? Of, the contract award, we have to vote on it?
You could vote no.
You can vote no, then make a motion to table.
Okay. Okay. All in favor? Yes, aye. You're voting yes?
I think we would then, if we want to vote no.
Okay, okay, no problem.
I mean, it's not a big deal, it's long, but it's.
And if you want to make a motion to table this, so it's
Did
on.
we have to vote?
We used to do all of that stuff.
We have a motion, all in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
I'm opposed. Okay.
But if you would like to make your motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this contract to, Wilson Excavating Utility Construction until next month, that we have some information on it.
Okay, we have a motion to table.
Second.
We have a second, okay. Any further discussion? All in favor of tabling? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay,
Resolution number 1352, redevelopment authority of Allegheny County grant for Holiday Drive and Mansfield Avenue storm sewer improvements. I move that we adopt resolution number 1352, designating the borough manager to execute all documents and agreements between the Borough of Green Tree and the RAAC to assist in obtaining a grant in the amount of $500,000 to be used for Holiday Drive and Mansfield Avenue storm sewer improvements.
Second.
do we have a motion and a second? Any further discussion?
Judy, can you explain this one, please?
Yes, this is a grant that we applied for, as you know, last summer, we came across some significant, storm sewer infrastructure deficiencies. The estimated cost for the entire rehab is 1.4 million. We are doing one small segment of it that we believe it's in need of immediate repair. That project's actually underway right now for $149,000. And then this grant is, is being applied for, so to do a couple more sections of that pipe.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, like a roll call vote?
Ms. Schwartz,
Yes.
Ms. Barron,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Tintori.
Yes. Resolution. That is all. Any example?
All right, SD 0124, Benassi Plan of Lots. I move that we approve SD 0124 Consolidation Plan creating lot 59-1A and lot 59-1B located at 754 Noblestown Road in accordance with the Planning Commission recommendation dated August 28, 2024.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Move on to public facilities.
Sure. So resolution 1354, the redevelopment authority of Allegheny County, RAAC grant for this Green Tree swimming pool bathhouse renovations. I move that we adopt resolution 1353, designating the borough manager to execute all documents and agreements between the Borough of Green Tree and RAAC to assist in obtaining a grant in the amount of $500,000 to be used for the Green Tree swimming pool bathhouse renovations.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So this is particular for the swimming pool bathhouse, which is a separate project than the swimming pool. So if awarded this grant, we would then have, hopefully, the whole $500,000, or at least some part of that $500,000 to put forth towards bathhouse renovations.
When did we decide that the bathhouse needed to be renovated?
There are definitely some plumbing issues that are very significant, and there are some, exterior panels of it that while they're not in bad shape, they are asbestos.
When did we decide that we were going to renovate the bathhouse? I
Well-
don't recall us talking about that. I mean, maybe in passing, we said the bathhouse might need to be updated. Now we have on our agenda, we're voting to go after grant funding, which assumes that we are going to renovate the bathhouse. I don't recall having a public discussion about that at all.
We do not have to, well, it was, I believe, part of the very initial early on discussions about the pool. I know that because I was a part of those discussions. We do not have to accept this grant money. We don't want to.
What's the estimated cost of bathhouse renovation?
We are not certain at this time that this is the amount of the grant that we could go for.
This is the time you can apply for the grant, so we're trying to take advantage of.
When do we need to put the bathhouse up bid and who's designing it?
Go ahead, Judy.
Yeah, and I will say this is the type of grant that would likely be approved next year this time. And so then construction would be thereafter.
So how can we have the pool? So we're gonna close the pool for 2 years?
Absolutely.
When's the construction gonna start on the bathhouse?
They can typically, I don't know for certain, timing is all something to consider. I just wanted to get a grant in. So that we have options. If we don't want the money, if we don't get approved, chances we may not even get approved for it. We may get half of the money and then determine that it's not worth it. We could do minor renovations instead of a full renovation. We have options, but this is just giving us the opportunity to have funds to renovate a facility where the plumbing in particular is in very bad shape.
So
And a lot of it would work around the outside.
what's wrong with the plumbing?
Well, the last time I was there, it was sirening when we were there. Several of the shower heads do not turn on any longer, and sometimes you can't get them to turn on.
And I assume we've had a certified plumber look at the plumbing and can't be repaired.
I know Carrie, our public works superintendents had to have some people out to manage some things from time to time. Is it a full disaster? Absolutely not. And if we choose to do nothing with that bathhouse, we can do nothing. It's not a problem.
Voting on this funding assumes that we're moving forward. The best case scenario, if the bathhouse is 500,000, we receive 500,000. When would construction start? I'm sorry, when would construction start if we were to receive 500,000?
I don't know exactly when this contract, these grant monies will be awarded. The CFA typically awards grants. A lot of times, for instance, they have a meeting this month to talk about ones that we applied for last year this time. They may or may not act on those grant applications. So you don't know. You put in for it, you see if you get some money at the point in time. If we were so fortunate to get approved, it could be as simple as just putting in, if we don't get a lot of money, we could just upgrade the shower facilities. We could, upgrade the outside of it where if anybody's, people here at the pool lot, all that wood trim out there, we constantly have the wood piece there every year. It's tough to get rid of them. So those are just the types of things that we can do to help make it a little less maintenance.
Yeah, I'll be voting no against this. There's just too many unknowns that I've been hearing tonight. And
Well, the window is open right now for opportunity to get funding, so every community in the world is trying to get funding. It makes sense to apply. We have no idea if we'll get 500. We're going for it, so it's an opportunity to get free money. It'll probably be next year.
there's no such thing as free money. Somebody's paying.
Oh, okay, I'm just. This is grant money, but I guess it's different. I don't know. Okay. We have a motion out there?
And second.
And a second. And I would like a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Barron,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray.
No.
Ms. Schwartz,
Yes.
Mr. Tintori.
Yes. Okay, that motion.
Okay, Part two, pool reconstruction, concept C 12.1, expansion of the lane deck. I move that we authorize the borough manager to direct aquatic facility design to expand the depth of the shallow end of the lane section of the pool from 4 feet to 4.6 inches as presented as an option with the C 12.1 concept drawings.
We have a motion and a second, some discussion, further discussion on all?
Yeah, so I can hear folks wondering why we can't make it to 5. Because it is unsafe and for this design, 5 feet is not an option with this design. 4.6 is as high as we can go. And it was one of the options that was presented to us when we, had our many meetings about the pool. And we voted on 4 feet. So now we're asking everyone to go back to that vote and go to 4.6. It is included in the estimate that was already provided for us. It is not, a significant cost. It won't derail or change any, additional plans. It will just make that particular the shallow end deeper.
What is unsafe about 5 feet?
So according to, the people who build pools, that it would cause, the way the pool is, the way that pool is scheduled to be built, it would have a large drop off where they have to, scale the pool. And that large drop off, would present an area for like your average swimmer, like all of us or children or whoever's using the pool. It would, be a dramatic drop, and those dramatic drops are not safe and are not up to like 2024 standards. That with the pools that have those dramatic drop offs, have, high rates of, lifeguards having to save people.
So why can't we have this gradual, like you currently do, from 3 feet to 5 feet where you don't have gradual?
That's not possible with this design.
Order.
Makes sense. Yes, let's stick with this design.
Okay. So we have
Did we talk to the swim team about the 4.6?
They were originally discussed, we did not, personally did not talk to them about us putting here, but they were part of the stakeholder conversations that Ms. Miller had in our original, discussions, yes.
So Ms. Miller, you had a direct conversation with the swim team manager?
Email.
What was their request?
6 foot.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, I think they'd be content with 5 in a neighboring pool that has 4, just over 4, and swimmers complain of scraping knees when they do their foot turns.
So then I have talked to swim team families, and certainly didn't talk to all of them, talked to the ones who reached out to me. And I did talk to multiple people who said that they would be comfortable with 4.6.
However, can we give some more background of why it was 4 instead of 4.6 originally?
Well, Ron, you
We
were in the
thought,
meeting.
I was in the meetings, and the argument for 4 foot was that during water aerobics or any other activities, even though I myself stand at 6 foot, there are some people that are 4'8", or,
5'2".
5'2", and at the time, our thought was that would allow more people to do water aerobics and have a safer, level. However, we have heard many people say 4 is not enough for the swimmer. So, I personally went up to the swimming pool and measured the level. Currently, it was at 4 foot 9 inches. I personally measured it myself. And after further discussions, it's not like we listened to what people were saying, the swim team, that maybe 4.6 is better. Now, if someone's 4-4, now they're not gonna be able to stand there and do stuff, but we have to weigh both, you know, what's positive and what's negative. But we feel the 4-6 is at least helping out in getting it closer to the 4-9 that we have. And, yet we're not forgetting about the people that are 4 foot 8 feet that can't use the 24.
Did the committee speak to the swim team coach?
We leave all of that communication up to, Ms. Miller.
Did the committee speak to, Ms. Rome, who, does the instructor?
We leave all of that communication up to Ms. Miller. Ms. Miller talked to Ms. Rome.
Did you talk to the water aerobics instructor?
They informally at the pool, they typically use the 4 foot area, not the 5 foot. It's too deep.
I'm just questioning the process. Did anybody talk?
In our original conversations, when we discussed this, yes, the stakeholders were talked with Ms. Miller, not the committee.
In fact, it was a water aerobics person that had us thinking 4 foot initially, because they wanted more room that they could use.
We had heard from a few different people, not just with the water aerobics, from other community people who use the pool frequently, who expressed that they wanted to see more 4 foot, because it was harder to stand in those deeper areas. But then when they're socializing with the young, you know, in that shallow area, there's just a lot of young children.
And then, David, when we went and we toured, when I toured Whitehall's brand new swimming pool that just got built, it opened in July. I was shocked to see their swimming lanes is 3.5 foot.
They don't have a competitive swim team, do they?
That I cannot answer, but
So you said.
but I can definitely answer, they are definitely 3.5 foot. I can show you pictures of the markings where you do the flip turn.
Yeah.
And I even told them, I go, well, I'm glad I'm gonna do a flip turn in 3.5, because I don't know if I can do it. But apparently, these professional pool designers think
So-
they could.
So what I'm hearing is most of the feedback that the community received went through Ms. Miller. Is that correct?
I had several emails with the swim team coach, yes.
That wasn't my question.
No.
It's not my
What
question.
you asked?
I'm asking the feedback that the committee received. This is directed to the
Well,
committee.
we had our committee meetings, we had individual people reach out to us, I had informal conversations all of the time in our community, just like you do.
Were
There
there-
were many different conversations.
Yeah, in the
Outside-
public workshop.
But
meetings that we had
those
were-
stakeholders with the,
Were very informative.
yeah, with the, aerobics instructor and, our swim team coach that was Ms. Miller.
And then those conversations are what led to us relocating the lap rooms to the outside of the pool. So I would say that there was pretty good level of conversation with the swim team, because again, that original design in the middle that I think, you know, on some level was being looked at. It became undesirable because of that input from the swim team.
Does this council think that, the people here and the people vocalizing their opinion, does this council believe that they're the vocal silent or the vocal minority, the small vocal minority? Do we believe this?
Any other thing? Is there any other?
Yeah, I just asked.
I mean,
Yeah, there is something.
Okay.
A lot of stuff.
I don't have anything to tell.
I'm just asking, does anybody want to address that? Mr. Pan, did you believe the people here tonight, people that signed? the
I
petition,
believe we're listening to
do
them.
you, the question is, do you believe? that
I
they're
believe
small-
we're
do you believe that-
hearing.
Do you believe that they're the small vocal minority?
No, they're the active minority.
So they're the minority opinion.
They're the active minority.
No.
So you keep saying the minority opinion. So if you're saying that this is the minority opinion, you must have data, because you make data-based decisions on this council. Where's the data that the silent majority agrees with the current?
So we do have to keep in mind that we vote for everyone, and that pool users are the minority. The
vast minority of our community.
Where, that was.
Order, please.
My question.
Order, please.
Yes, I do believe
You
that
will
the
speak
voting
out,
is
yeah.
a minority. I do believe that.
Great, so what data do you have? Look, this is a simple black and white.
It's so simple.
If this is.
It's so simple.
Please don't interrupt. If this is, Ms. Barron just said, that the people in the room tonight, and the people on the petition, and the people in the community, and the people that are on social media, that is, you just said it, that that's the small vocal minority.
I said that it was the minority,
Right,
yes.
so what data do you have that the majority of our constituents agree with the current design? What data can you present that the majority, the other 3,700 people in this community agree with your design?
Well, I am not going to go through the list of texts and personal conversations that I have had of community members who have said they are scared to voice their opinions, we're afraid of being bullied. I'm sorry, that is true. And I will not go with that.
Excuse me, I would like order, please.
And I will not make any more comments.
Please respect the speaker.
I think you're obligated. I think you're obligated because you're making a $4 million decision based on this data that you supposedly have of the majority. I think it would only be fair to your constituents to share that information. If you have a couple of texts or a couple of conversations, that certainly doesn't sound like the majority, even if you don't want to share it. I respect that. If you don't want to share it. But a couple of texts is different than 418 people who signed a petition. Ms. Barron, that's more than half of the people that voted for it. We had, both of us had 800 people vote for us. I have 418 people that signed a petition. They're asking for a pause in the design.
And I will stand by my vote and I stand by this, recommendation tonight. So it has been seconded.
Okay, we have a motion. There's a motion, it's been seconded, and we've had enough discussion.
We're having discussion.
Oh, yeah. We veered off the discussion about this particular situation. We can talk later on that, but right now we have a motion to expand the pool. You're off on a tangent.
You're asking me to change the design.
Yes,
It's very relevant. I'm asking for how you're getting to the conclusions that you're asking us to vote on. And if you have data, you say that you have data, I appreciate that. I'm data driven too. I have data points in this room, I have data points on social media, I have data points on a petition. I have data points on my text messages too. I'm just asking, I'll share that. I'm just asking for you to share your data. That's
Okay.
all.
Thank you
And
very
I'm
much.
willing to share it.
Yes,
When?
I will share it.
Okay. We will move along. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion? Aye.
I
Opposed?
I oppose.
Okay. Any abstentions? The motion passed.
I have
Thank
something
you very much.
to,
Okay, we are done with public facilities. We'd like to move on to public safety.
I have something.
I didn't hear what you said.
Okay, then move on to public safety. Move on to public safety.
We have to move on to public safety.
All right, so public safety, I feel that current design is not safe. Therefore, I believe, based on all the data that I have collected, I believe that this council should vote to pause the design. And declare the
We need order here. We'll clear the room. You're not gonna get anywhere trying to bully people. Just please be quiet.
That is so,
You're screaming at me. That's not
They're
it.
just chanting, they're passionate about this issue.
Okay.
I'll be quiet. Can I make a statement, please?
Yes.
You may, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate everybody, very well spoken, well prepared, So I'm a little bit nervous to speak since we have so many good speakers here, but very good there. Two things that do keep the temperature down, keep the stability, at a good level. Second thing would be data-driven decisions. That's what I'm focusing on, data-driven decisions. I want to bring up 6 points here. Finally, on August 21 of this year, I've got to answer their questions I've been trying for weeks to get. The answers are what are the restricted areas in the pool? As to the diving board, there's 602 square feet are going to be roped off for the diving board. 602 for the diving board. The slide area, 250 square feet will be roped off for the diving slide area. To keep 2 swim lanes open, 1,273 square feet will be used for the 2 swim lanes. For the ADA ramp, 204 square feet. For the lounge area, 220 square feet. So the restricted area where only a very limited number of people can be is 2,549 square feet. So that's my first point. How much is restricted? Second point is the new pool design has 6,781 square feet. 6,781. You subtract the restricted areas I just mentioned, the 2,549, and you come up with 4,232 for general use. So I'm going to round that to 4,000. This new pool design has 4,200 square foot for general use. Okay, now the user load, the pool designers tell this 519 user load. He says that's the whole pool facility. Okay, that's the whole pool facility. My question is, how many people can actually be in the pool at the same time and have an enjoyable experience? How many people in the pool, in the water, at the same time have an enjoyable experience? So we got 4,200 square feet of general area for these people. Now, if it was 36 square foot a person, 36 square foot is 6 foot by 6 foot. I'm not quite 6 foot. I was when I was a younger man. But anyhow, you put your arms out. This is 6 foot. A 6 foot man when he expands it. So this way and this way is 36 square feet. Okay, so you take 4,230 square foot in the general use, give everyone 36 square foot, which is not much. Better not extend your arms. You can have 117 persons, 117 persons in the general use area. So if you want to give them a lot of room to expand, let's give them 49 square feet, 7 foot by 7 foot. In the 4,200 square foot area, we have 86 persons. So 86 persons, it would be crowded. Okay, so that's my calculation of how many people can actually be in the pool at 36 square foot in the general use or 49 square feet. My third point is pool usage. The last meeting, it was admitted that when the committee looked at this, they did not have the 2024 statistics. Did not have the 2024 statistics. They looked on statistics before that. I looked at the 2024 statistics from May 25th to July 15th, not including the 4th of July. I didn't want to inflate the number. And on 37 days, there were over 100 attendees. 37 days, over 100 attendees, and there was an average of 233 attendees a day. 233. Let's say half those people were in the pool at the same time. Half of 233 is 116. If you have 116 persons in the pool on those 37 days, 116, everyone would have 6 foot. Everyone would have that much space. Okay.
Mayor, just one point about that, Dave. That doesn't include.
That doesn't include preschool and younger attendees. Okay, so that's what I've been trying to go on. How much area is restricted for limited use? How much area do you need to have an enjoyable experience? How many square feet? And how many days do we have over 100 people? So I'm trying to be getting answers to these questions, and I think they're legitimate questions. I've dealt with, experts all my life in my profession, so anyhow, I think I know how to ask questions, how to present things, but in any event, just two more points. I'm not advocating for, a 10,000 square foot pool. I am not. All I'm asking for is the same size, 7,000. How we got to this point, that because, if we got this, at the meeting, here we go, back on my notes, sorry, maybe too much statistics, but the July 17th meeting of council, they looked at the C12 design and it was 7,184 square feet on July 17th. 3 council members asked it to be bigger than 7,184 to get it closer to our current design. What did the pool designers do at the July 1st meeting? They came back, they reduced it to 6,781. They made it smaller and it was voted on and approved. So I'm just going.
Oh, yeah.
So anyhow, that was a surprise. I mean, council did their due diligence on all these other subjects. Baby pool, everything else. And I'm not faulting council whatsoever, but the size of the pool, since they wanted it bigger, and 3 weeks later, they get a smaller design and approved it. The smaller design was a surprise. That's what people are complaining about or have concerns about. So I can see why you have concerns, because to me, it was a surprise, and I'm up here and I try to pay attention. We're not quite old as our presidential candidates, so I still have my wits about me. And lastly, the construction, people brought up, do we really need to close the pool? Can we start it in, close the pool earlier, start in September? I think we really need an answer to that question. So in any event, I do think there should be a pause and just get a pool the same size. Please, be respectful, but I know why you're frustrated, because I'm frustrated, because I can't get answers to my questions. So I can see why you're frustrated, but you gotta stay calm here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, would you like to move on to public safety?
So I think we're already in public safety.
Right.
I believe it's just a public safety issue. If we have a smaller pool with more people in it, it's pretty big risk. I'm gonna show you, I believe most of you have seen this on my social media posts, but I just want to get your reaction to this or not. Yeah, extra one. So it's, Mr. Mayor mentioned, the C12.1 design is 812 square feet smaller than our current design. In addition to that, we have unusable swim space with the ADA ramp in the lounge area. The shaded area that you see in my picture below is accurate to the square foot. If you were to apply that to our 1,236 square feet to our current pool, you'd see how much smaller our pool is. I would love to get your reaction, for you to share your thoughts on why you think a smaller pool makes sense for the lake. Is anybody willing to answer that? Why does a smaller pool make sense for this purpose?
We all have individual reasons why we vote. That's all we have. It's not just about, for me, it's not about the smaller pool. It's about making for me, it was always about making sure that we could sustain the pool in the future and that we were getting the pool that was the right size for our community. That's why I voted for this, but I can't speak for everybody else. I can only speak for myself.
Thanks, Ms. Barrett. Can you expand on sustain the pool in the future? What does that mean?
So we have the money to build the pool, right? But anything beyond that is going to come down to us
the everyday life of the borough, right, and of the people who live here. We know that the borough is not likely to, have a boom in building and population and all different, other sorts of things. So it really does come down to us. We also know that, we can expect rates on water and sewage to increase, which would then come to us. That all gets put on to our taxpayers. This pool is going to outlive the majority of the people in this room, myself included, right? So I wanted to make sure that we could sustain that. I want to make sure that we're not biting off more than our community can chew 10, 5, 50 years down the line. This is, a pool is, the general life of a pool is 50 to 60 years. Ours has met its life, and now we're making a decision. That is me, that is my opinion. I cannot speak for everyone else's.
What, so you say, and I appreciate you make database decisions.
did.
Which data do you have?
I have tons of it, David. Let me get to my report and I'll be happy to share more.
Are you gonna share with us?
I will share literally everything I have, but we need to get to that part.
It'll be later on in the year.
Awesome. Does anybody else want to share why they think a smaller pool is a good choice for the borough?
David, I understand that your tagline is smaller pool, that's fine.
Well, it's not, no, I'm sorry, it's not a tagline, it's actual.
Well, right, but that's the reason that I went with the smaller pool was after sitting through all of the meetings we had. First off, swim team didn't want a beach entry. I talked with Jeff about it. He was like, a beach entry takes away a lot of the swimming space we use for the little kids because they can't swim in 6 inches of water. That doesn't work. So one of the things that did change in the final design was that we removed the beach entry because that was 2,000 square feet of water up to your calf. That's not a usable pool space. It's basically just paying for concrete with some warm water on it. And then we're losing that usability. So that loss was actually losing space that wasn't going to be utilized in the best way. And I do agree. We are a growing community, but we're also a waning community. In the same way that there are new families moving in, there are families like mine. I have a daughter who works at the pool. I have a son who's on swim team, but my daughter is almost 16. In 2 years, she's off to college. She won't be at the pool. She works at the pool, so she doesn't want to hang out at the pool. My 11-year-old will go that route as well. It's a constant ebb and flow. All of these citizens have watched young families move in, raise their kids, and then go. I'm planning to stay for the next 30 years. I'm not going to have kids at the pool. So when I'm looking at the population and I'm looking at the density and I'm looking at that, I want to make sure that what we pick isn't going to burden us by being too large for our community going forward. If it's the right size, the right fit, then it makes sense. So when I look at this pool and I look at pools of communities of similar size, we're right in target. What we need is to stick a size that's manageable for long term. We can barely staff the pool right now, the last 3 weeks of the season, because all of the kids are high school kids. And every pool is like that, but that means that a bigger pool means more staff, and we're competing with everyone else to get those kids. That's challenging. But Crafton has a pool that is the same size, actually smaller than the pool that we are currently moving forward with. They have 1,000 more residents than we do. 1,000 more. So when I look at that and I look at this, I say, okay, it's not exactly our old pool, because to build our old pool, A, isn't to the standards of design now, but also it would cost an exorbitantly larger amount to build that size pool in the way that it was compiled in. This meets a lot of the needs of all the stakeholders that came to those meetings. We changed where lanes were. We moved dining. We sat and listened and worked to get to this point. And I'm confident that when this pool goes in, people will be very pleased with the results. And quite honestly, there are sections in the pool, and everyone here goes to the pool, so you know, everyone's in one spot. And there are sections that are very empty. those empty spaces are what we're cutting out. We're trying to make a flow that's more usable. It's more friendly to people moving through the pool. It doesn't have a barrier in the middle of it, which is a swimming lane. It doesn't have those things. It makes it a more functional design for the future. And so that is why
I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on that. I'm just gonna have follow-up questions if you don't mind. You talked about population size. You said we're a growing community, but we're also a waning community. I think I heard you correctly.
well,
Our comprehensive plan that the planning commission just completed
I
shows
just
population
went through
growth.
it.
It shows population growth.
Of 400, but it also shows that the highest population boom we ever had was in the 1960s or 70s.
1970.
And to be honest, while that growth pattern is there, we also know that there are a large amount of families that move into Green Tree, and when they can no longer fit in their homes, they move to another community. They do, it's true. So yes, I do see we are growing, but we are not growing by 1,000, nor can we grow by 1,000.
So you also said that, losing the beach entry, you talked to the swim team coach about that.
Yes.
What other data points do you have that the beach entry wasn't a desirable feature of the pool?
I think the fact that the square footage alone and the lack of swimming use of it.
It was also mentioned in our meeting.
If you don't mind, I would appreciate data instead of I think, right? What data, what survey data do you have? What feedback do you have from the community, the pool users themselves that said to you that we don't want beach entry?
We had in one of our public meetings, we had multiple people say they did not want beach entry.
And I've had people walk up to me at the pool and say it as well.
Okay, so let's go to sustaining the pool and the operating costs. You know, I hear that, I believe Mr. Romanovich said in one meeting, the pool is just $2,500 a day. We don't subscribe to that, do we? The pool, no borough asset loses money. It is budgeted into the budget. It's an expense that we cover through tax.
We operate it knowing that it will operate at a loss.
It doesn't operate at a loss. There's no such thing as an operating at a loss. It is budgeted. In fact, this year, the pool is going to be under budget. So we don't operate at a loss. No, this building, the ball fields, the parks, they all, if you want to use that terminology, operate at a loss. They
Right.
don't. We
They're
budget.
investment into the, they're more of an investment into the community than they are on making
So we use taxpayer revenue to pay for the pool in addition to fees, correct?
and the operation,
In
correct?
the operation, so it's usually, we hope that it's a balanced budget. If it's losing money, then the amount that we budget is less than the amount that we spend. I don't think that happens at the pool, right? We always budget more than we need to sustain the pool. The operating costs. Now, I'm interested where you're getting your data for your database decisions on operating costs. As you know, I emailed the pool designer last week, asking that question specifically. Because that keeps getting thrown out that the new pool is going to cost more, right? We heard from Ms. Barron just now, she said utility costs and sewage costs are going to increase, okay? My question to the pool designer, were there discussions with the committee about actual operating utility costs for the new pool? If so, what are they? His response was, not with any high level specificity, but with new systems in place, reduced utility costs are anticipated as a result of energy efficient pumps.
For the electric, yes, but we
For the
know that water and sewage consistently goes up and is already painful. That's a no thing.
So right now, we pay $30,000 in utility. We budget $30,000 for utility. Let's say that number doubles and it goes to 60,000. That is a rounding error in our budget. Literally a rounding error. They're not going to increase by 1%. They're not. Maybe over time, but guess what else also is going to happen? Our tax base is also going to increase. So I really want to understand, instead of the opinion, I have opinions too. I want to know what data-based decision, what data you're using to base your decisions on. You're saying that it's going to cost more. Well, how much is it going to cost?
Well, that we can't, I cannot predict right now. I have to go into AI and have them do a model of where water costs would go.
But that's why, but you just said that's why you voted for a small.
But I also I cannot predict what will be the cost bearing for the borough in 20 years, right now.
But you literally, so you said that that's the reason why you voted for a smaller pool, because it's gonna cost more in the future.
It's gonna cost more to employ people too,
So, but our tax base is also going to go up.
maybe. What if housing rates go down? You don't know that.
So maybe we should shut everything down. I mean, we're gonna, but now you're basing a decision on speculation.
I'm basing my decision on the fact that we are a community of less than 5,000 people.
Okay,
And the pool size that we picked is still adequate for more than 1,000 more people than that,
based on what data?
based on the data of all of the other pools in Allegheny County.
To what degree do you believe that this is the vocal silent minority?
I'm not answering that, David, because quite honestly, I do not use social media to do governance.
You don't
That's
have-
why I
look
do
right
it
here.
here.
Just look right here. You know how well attended our meetings are. Usually there's about 3 or 4 people. There's an issue, you're voting on you voted on $4
And
million.
if you would let Ms. Farah give a presentation, we could answer a lot
Yeah,
of
let's move
questions.
along.
that-
Okay,
Please move along.
Okay, then I'll ask the
You're
question.
just moving along and moving along.
Let her have.
Would you like to do the,
No, actually,
you don't wanna do.
No, I would, like to make a motion that we add, to the agenda this evening. Discussion to pause the pool design.
Unfortunately. From standpoint, under the case that Mr. Panza cited, it cannot be added to the agenda tonight.
Because it just happened, David.
You
When?
can, under recent
You can-
case law
No,
development,
when? I'm asking the solicitor, when?
under recent case law developments, there's only very limited opportunities in which an agenda can be amended at the actual meeting itself.
When was that?
Within the past year.
Okay, so your colleague, Ms. Dearson, allowed us to do it within the past year.
Like,
Did you
again,
give us
it's
false
a,
guidance?
no, it's a very recent development. It's current.
What?
The current case law states, as interpreted by our Commonwealth courts, that unless it is a genuine emergency, and we're talking about actual life and death, not a policy decision that has a good turnout, or it's de minimis in the extent that it does not cost any money, it does not require any alterations or adding it to a contract. So in this instance, it does not fall into
What is
either
recent development?
service.
When is recent development? Can you give me a date?
I, off the top of my head,
Within the last week?
no,
Within the last year?
within the last year.
We have made changes to the agenda based on the guidance of your colleague, Ms. Dearson. We made additions to the agenda. Did she give us false guidance?
Mr. Ray, I was not present at those meetings. I cannot speak. to
Can
what
I
happened at them.
update what I know? Last Thursday, the Allegheny League of Municipalities, which represents every community in Allegheny County, called a meeting where the Pennsylvania Boroughs Association came in to advise us that because of Pullman versus Parkland School District, we did not do the practice of adding anything to the agenda if it is not advertised. And until the Supreme Court can look at it and overturn it, they told us, do not do this because you cannot do it. It's a violation of the Sunshine Act. And anyone in this room can Google Coleman versus Parkland School
Can you spell
District.
that? Act 65.
Coleman, like
Coleman as in like the.
like Coleman Grill.
Camping.
Yeah. And they just said you just can't do it, unfortunately.
That's correct. It actually overturned a longstanding precedent where there was greater ability of councils and local governments to amend an agenda at the time of the meeting. There is admittedly a hope among solicitors that it will be overturned by the Supreme Court, but until it does, that's what the current law says.
I appreciate the current law. We're asking the guides that we received from the former solicitor, that we did make changes to the agenda and it's looking.
Right now, we're getting,
And
advice
I
from our
think
current
we should-
solicitor.
I think the borough manager should investigate that. We're misguided. That's malpractice that's. Why are you laughing? Why is that funny?
because you're throwing out innuendos on
I'm not
people. You have no
throwing out-
idea.
I'm
You
throwing
have no
out-
idea what you're talking.
Ms. Schwartz, I've been quite civil tonight. I don't
Yes.
think you would agree.
You have been.
Yeah, thank you.
But we do need, the language here is we can't do it. So if we can't do it, let's move on to our next.
I'm fine with, I'm looking at, we made
I understand.
actions in the past that were misguided.
Yeah, I understand.
Mr. Solicitor, question, can a motion be made to place on the October 7th agenda, the pause issue?
Yes.
That would still be adding a motion to this agenda, so I would say no. You would have to just add it as you typically do as policy.
How do we typically, can I add it, I can't hear you.
Workshop, why can't at the workshop, you can have that discussion and you can ask, to have it to the agenda?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Why not? Can I ask that added to the agenda now?
No.
Why?
Because it's
Because,
not.
In the workshop, what's the difference between now and the workshop?
Because this is an
Workshop.
advertised meeting with an advertised
We
agenda.
make a decisions in
workshop
this meeting, workshop meetings, we don't make decisions.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, that's what the difference is.
Right, well, I would like the borough manager to investigate that previous solicitor giving us, false, inaccurate, maybe illegal guidance into a court case and.
Yeah, that's bylaw, really, Act 65 really has us restricted from what we can do. It's not unfortunate. I mean, I myself, I can't believe it.
Okay, public safety, and everybody, please hang in with us tonight, there's a lot to cover. Public safety, as you know, we are, adding sergeants for, police staff. We interviewed Officer Gablett, who is a, current officer with the Green Tree Police Department, so I make a motion that we appoint Officer Brad Gablett as sergeant effective September 10th, 2024.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We just haven't had a sergeant here in a number of years. Been a number of years, so we're very happy
It was
to.
1972.
Oh, that's way more than 30.
Sadly, it is. We did have, like, he did have to pass the sergeant's exam, and we did have an interview with him.
Before I end my report, Mr. President.
Wait a minute, we're in the middle of voting, please.
Sorry.
So we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor of the motion to appoint Officer Gavin?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Mr. President, I believe you owe me an apology. You said, I've been very civil tonight. You said, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm challenging.
You made a statement about someone saying malpractice about someone. That's really out of
We
order.
were given advice by the solicitor. How's it out of order? I think you would all agree that we've been given advice by the former solicitor that we can add things to the agenda. That was inaccurate advice.
Okay, but
So I think
malpractice is a.
that is considered malpractice, yes. So I do know what I'm talking about. You owe me an apology.
I'm not apologizing for that. You made a statement that was very out of order.
Right, let's investigate.
That's fine.
Right.
But you can't make accusations.
Yes, I can,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay.
Based on what happened.
Okay, you did. Fine with
Do
that.
you agree that the former solicitor allowed us?
I would like to move on.
Do you agree?
We'd like to move on to the mayor's
Yeah, I'm
report.
not done with my report yet. Do you agree that the former solicitor allowed us to make additions to the agenda? Did she do it?
That's a matter of record.
Right, it's a matter of record, so I do know what I'm talking about. I can go back and I'll show you how many times she allowed us to make additions to the agenda in the meeting. Okay, and the current solicitor just told us that recent developments, and I believe it's 2023 on my quick Google search. Sorry, Tom, for using my phone. That happened after, she gave us that guidance after that focus. So in my opinion, that's not practice.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Great, and don't tell me I don't know. what I'm
I just
talking
said
about. I
that's
didn't-
horrible to call someone that they're malpractice when you don't know the whole situation. She could have just not known about her
I said
mistake.
it could be. I didn't
Oh, no,
say-
no, you said malpractice. That's
I
fine with
was
that.
different until you said.
Oh, was that
You made the first personal attack.
I
No
didn't
crap.
make any personal attack, dear
No
sir.
crap.
Well, you can keep arguing.
Please move on.
Let's move on,
We have
then,
a lot of other
please.
things to discuss.
I don't need to sit here and argue with you on some
That's
matter.
right, I know.
Let's move on. You done with that?
Yes. I'm done.
Public service? Okay. We'll move on to the mayor's report. Good Lord. Good, mayor.
Very briefly, mayor's office hours is Saturday from 9 to 11:30. October Fest is also Saturday, September 14th. So I'll be there all day after mayor's office hours. Homecoming parade I'll be in the homecoming parade, the mayors in Castle Shannon, Dormont and Green Tree. We're in that parade. It's from Dormont Elementary over to the stadium. So that's on Friday evening at 5:30. I congratulate Brad Yavlik on his promotion to sergeant. He gave an excellent interview. He's a good officer. We look forward to our current officers. We have two new, we want two new officers. The status, the Civil Service Commission is doing background checks on 5. We have 5 good candidates. They're doing background checks. Hopefully the background checks are completed in a week or two. On Thursday, September 19th, the Civil Service Commission meets. In the Civil Service Committee, when they meet, we're hoping that they certify a list of the top 4. If they certify the list of the top 4 on September 19th, so our council will be in a position to interview the 4 candidates. And if they choose to, they can hire 2 of them. So I would like to thank our officers. We've been short for a long time now. I'd like to thank the officers for carrying a heavy load and doing a lot of overtime during that period and keeping our community safe and handling things professionally. There's always dangers out there. On the police report in August, there was 6 domestic disputes. I mean, we're talking male, female, or child, parent, physical disputes here in Green Tree. And, they handle them with compassion and do very well on those. They could turn south at any moment. So I thank the police department for all the work they're doing. End of my report. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to reports of committees. First off, finance and policy. Really have nothing to report.
I got something if you don't mind.
Like to move on. I am chair of finance, so
Am I allowed to make a comment about finance?
sure you can.
Great. On August 13th, I sent an email to Council Mayor Judy Miller. The email goes like this. I'd like to propose that we restart department head budget presentations, police, fire, library, admin, etc. What are your thoughts on department heads submitting their budgets and budget requests to Judy by the end of September and then shared with council prior to our October workshop? At the workshop, which is a public meeting, we can have open discussion about the plans and inform the budgeting process. And then that ended that with thoughts, questioning. That was sent on August 13th. Got no reply until September 4th from the borough manager. Hello, David. I believe the current process, which has been in place for many years, works well. As we begin budget development in early October, we follow up with individual department staff meetings throughout October into early November. The budget meeting in October would not be possible. All department representatives, including an LSSC, that's the engineering firm representative, will attend the budget public hearing so as to answer any questions relevant to their respective budgets. Again, I believe this process has worked well and would not recommend any changes, especially those that speed up the process. Any questions, please let me know. Well, the current process didn't work well for the fire department last year. We had an issue during the budget hearing meeting that there was some exchanges or some gaps in communication where the police chief, or no, sorry, the fire department chief did not submit his budget request in time. I was going to leave the name out of this one part, but since I don't know what I'm talking about, you were the only council member that replied. That was on September 4th.
Thank you.
You said the budget process is run by the manager. We cannot micromanage the borough. You can suggest to the manager whatever you choose. The manager makes the decision. We have no expertise, you're referring to council. We have no expertise or experience creating or managing a borough or township budget. It is not council's job to put together and deliver a budget. You're a board member on LGA, correct?
Correct.
So you know Paul Lauer?
No, I do not.
He's one of your,
He's not a board member.
well, he was a former board member. I believe you know him. He's the borough township manager at Peters Township.
Okay.
I watched one of his videos, so might want to, I'll send it to you. He was talking about, he made a budget presentation, municipal budgets on January 13th, 2024. I was gonna actually play it, but I know we're running short on time tonight. But I'm just gonna read an excerpt from his presentation. The slide titled, Role of Council in the Budgeting Process. Council is the decision maker in the process, but the process is required to be open and it ought to be inclusive. Openness is not only the law, it is an essential element in developing a budget that is widely accepted, particularly in challenging times. Inclusion goes beyond the legal requirement for transparency. I'll read that one again. Inclusion goes beyond the legal requirement for transparency. It uses the collective knowledge of the community to aid in decision making. His next slide. Why should the budgeting process be open and inclusive? By council gathering as much information as available, council places itself in a position to make better decisions. I get this one. This is a great bullet point. By allowing everyone, and by everyone, that's the community, the department heads, council, everyone, by allowing everyone the opportunity to see the decision-making process, council engenders trust, not only in the process, but also in council. What a great statement. I would imagine that the trust that the community has for this council right now is in question. We should be doing whatever possible to make these decisions transparent, based on decisions. The current budgeting process that we have is not transparent. It shows up on our doorsteps in a green envelope and a green bag. And a couple of weeks later, we have a meeting in here and there's about 2 people in the meeting. We're making $1 million decisions. We don't talk to the department heads. They don't know what we want. We don't know what they want. In the past, the department heads made presentations at the budget hearing, so we haven't used the same process. We changed that process after COVID and never got back to it. I'm challenging this council to create a more transparent budgeting process. And that we follow the examples like the borough of Dormont, where they start in September with a budget discussion and a workshop. Then in August, they have a mid-year budget review. And then in October, they have another budget discussion. Upper St. Clair, they just got back here. They start in September. In September, they have a review of initial budget assumptions. In October, they review the 2024 township manager's proposed budget. In November, they have a meeting with the public where and all these meetings are public. We have one meeting that lasts about an hour to talk about the $7 million budget. I think that this council needs to make database decisions. I agree, but we also have to be more transparent. I'm looking forward to Ms. Barron's report on the data that she leveraged to make the decisions on a $4 million expense. And I'll continue to ask for transparency, especially in this budgeting process. I think it'd be great if, Art, I'll send you the video from Paul. In Peters Township, council meets with every department head. They understand their budget needs. They understand challenges that may be presented to them through council, and it becomes an open and transparent and inclusive process. It also incorporates the public in multiple workshops around the budget. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll have more later. Thank you.
Well, David,
Thank you very much.
what's your recommendation? You yourself just said, we have these budget meetings once a year before we pass the budget. They're public. Okay? We vote on millions of dollars.
Yeah, they're public.
And what did you just say? 2 people show up. What's your recommendation that we can get a lot of people showing up? Because I'm all for the more people, the better.
Let me ask you this.
I'm asking, what's your recommendation?
Let me ask you, because this is a pertinent question, Mr. Panza.
Okay.
If this many people showed up at a budget meeting and they said that the money that you're spending should not be spent that way, is this the small vocal?
No,
way
not
we're-
at all. We can
Then-
listen to them. But if they show up after the budget is passed, then
Their opinion still doesn't matter.
after it's over, after the budget is passed.
Right.
You just said, if they show up
Okay.
when we're talking about the upcoming budget, we're listening to every word they have to say. But
Right, so
if we pass the budget December 1st,
Yeah.
and then they show up in January,
Yeah.
we're listening, but we're gonna say, we
Too
passed we said we're listening, but we did pass the budget. I wish we would have been there the month before.
So if they come to you with a $4 million mistake in the budget, let's just say it got through the cracks, you're not saying that you can't reopen the budget, adjust the budget, and then vote on a new budget?
I would give you that.
Okay, thank you.
I'll give you that.
So it works. So you're open to feedback. If this small vocal minority shows up at a budget meeting, this,
Yes,
you
yes.
consider a
Yeah,
small.
but I know what you're getting at, but eventually.
What am I getting at?
What you're getting at is if the depth of the swimming pool is 4.6 inches, this is what you're getting at, but you really think it should be the 4.9 that it is now. Is it worth $150,000 to go back in for those 3 inches?
No, I'm talking about.
That's what they're getting at.
20% decrease in size. That's what I'm talking about.
20%, we were at 7,184 in the current.
We're not on this topic right now.
Yeah, we're not on the phone.
It's still spending money. It's still.
Please, let's move along.
So those 100 people,
Okay, let's move along.
let's move along. Let's just
Yeah.
move along. Like,
Thank you. Yes,
let's
exactly.
not have open discussion.
Okay, we'd like, Mr. Romanovich is not here for infrastructure. You have anything for planning and zoning, Ms. Schwartz?
Yeah, just, update, the planning commission met twice this month. At their first meeting on August 14th, they had a workshop. They did have an exploratory conversation on the development and conversion of commercial property on Mansfield Avenue. Heard that was a good conversation. I was not there, but at the August 28th meeting, which I did get to attend, they did review the vacant property recovery plan application that was on the agenda this evening, and was approved. And we talked about reviewing some code enforcement policies that have come up in resident issues over the past year that they may want to take a look at for best practices, maybe things that could be changed or streamlined to make sure that things are addressed in timely manners and followed up on. We also discussed the International Property Maintenance Code and how that could be a beneficial tool for the code enforcement in the borough. We'll continue those talks. Their next planning meeting is scheduled for September 25th at 7 p.m. They are only going to have one meeting this month due to conflicts with people's schedules. Also, just to note, there is a zoning hearing board hearing scheduled on September 19th at 7 p.m. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you very much. Move on to public facilities and.
Yeah, I have a lot, but I want to kind of get through some of this stuff first before I move on to the bulk of it. So the first thing is, the municipal building restroom renovations. A pre-bid conference was held on Thursday, September 5th. This is specifically talking about, the restrooms on this floor, to become ADA accessible. There will still be 2 stalls in the female restroom. We will have 1 stall, correct, and 1 or 2 urinals in the men's bathroom. I forget. 1 stall, 2 urinals. I was correct. And so that initial bid consult happened on September 5th. And then the bids are due on September 19th. So we hope that the contract will be able to be placed on the October 7th council agenda. And then that would put us for those renovations to happen February, correct, Ms. Miller, I believe, we said around February for those.
Construction?
Yeah.
We would prefer for it to be done in January. Typically is the latest use of the building.
Okay,
But will be subject to availability.
I knew it was the winter, but I didn't have it on my notes. Wait,
So are we reducing the size of that
no.
bathroom? We're reducing the number of stalls.
Well, we're making the stalls ADA compliant.
Okay.
So in the women's restroom, because we have 2 gender bathrooms here.
Yeah.
So there will be 2 stalls. One will be ADA compliant, and the other one will be a regular stall. Still 2 sinks. They're just reconfiguring how that's laid out. In the men's bathroom,
Yeah.
and Ron, I don't remember if you remember this, but we did discuss this in our committee meeting too, because there's an ADA bathroom, like a stall will be in there, and then 2 urinals,
Yeah.
and then the 2 sinks. So they were just because those stalls are not ADA compliant.
Exactly, so,
Yeah,
so
you can't get a
we're
wheelchair.
making it, we're downsizing, I mean, we're conforming
We're
to
not-
what.
Yeah,
our
not,
practice.
the imprint of the space
Yeah,
remains
it's
the
the same,
same.
but we're making it more practical.
We're
and
making
more
it ADA
usable,
compliant.
yeah.
We're making it so.
Even though we're losing, stall,
Well, we'll have 2 urinals and there'll be 1.
stall rather than
Correct.
2 stalls, which.
But it's a reconfiguring and this will allow any, because right now,
It'll be more efficient this way.
it'll be
rather
more accessible, because right now, anyone who would need to use an ADA stall has to go down the elevator, down to the library and then back out.
Yeah, so we're better off.
Correct, so that'll work, we'll have. We also have, Brook Park has, opened the final landscaping and sidewalk restoration are pending finalization. I do not have a date for this, finality. Do we have any, I know that was, we weren't entirely sure at that point in time.
Not yet, we still have some
Right, concrete work needs to be done. The Point Park Field, an agreement with Point Park University. A meeting with the Point Park University representatives was held on August 23rd. Ms. Miller was there. The existing MOU draft was forwarded to these representatives for review. Additional meetings will be scheduled once they have an opportunity to discuss the MOU. This is for improvements that Point Park would like to see done on the field that we own that they use. The municipal garden improvements, if we remember many months ago, I don't remember what month we talked about this in a meeting, I don't remember when we voted. But our garden club, wanted to see, put forth this not insignificant amount of money to have some lighting fixtures to be placed in the garden. The initial, plans that were presented to the, garden club, they want something more aesthetically pleasing, because they put a lot of beautiful work into that garden. So they are working, to see what other options they could have, and any revisions to the original request would be, presented to the public property committee for us, to make any recommendations that we may need to bring to council. We also, it is Love Your Library Month. We have a library board member wearing her Love Your Library shirt, which means that all donations to the library in the month of September are prorated and matched by the Jack Buncher Foundation. It's a really great time, to give to the library. Your dollars stretch further. Our borough manager is coming to the library board meeting in the month of September, the third Tuesday of the month. The library board has invited, the borough manager for the last 3 years to come to the September meeting. They'll discuss, their, ideas and, budgetary requests for the next year. Included that for this year, our historical society has asked, the library to take on its duties. And for the last few months, over the last year, the board has been discussing what that would look like. And how that could benefit the community and how that work could live on. Right now, the Historical Society is run, they're actually down to 2 very dedicated volunteers. It is not something run at all by the borough or by the library. So they will be discussing with Ms. Miller in that meeting about how that could happen, if that is something that is viable, and what would need to happen to support that decision, if that is where we go. We'll continue to keep everyone posted on those conversations. You did see that we also discussed moving from 4 feet to 4 feet 6 inches. That was on here tonight. And then last month I was not here. I took a very, very short family vacation after dealing with cancer and my mom, bringing my mom on a vacation. I chose those dates because it worked for my family and I didn't have anything to vote on at that meeting. And I wasn't here, but I had equipped my committee to discuss, all of the pool data. But unfortunately, due to the nature of that meeting, and they did not feel comfortable being able to do that. So I am going
I
to,
was planning on doing it. I got stuck in the hurricane.
yeah,
And I got stuck in the hurricane and they canceled not only one flight for 2 days, then 2 days later, they canceled that flight. I had to wind up driving home because of the flight canceled, but I was
Yes.
prepared to give that.
he was prepared to give that.
But our audio system was not that great.
It's not great. It is, on our committee to, discuss, as we prepare for 2025. However, I do have, all of that tonight in a presentation, and I will be presenting it. The screen is gonna come down. Kim's gonna get the screen down. I'm gonna remove myself from here and, go out there to speak. And I will present all that information. This is my committee update. So, it will go just like a committee update will. And then when I'm finished with that, we'll move on to the other committee updates. And, Kim also has the presentation pulled up on her computer, so the screen will be shared for the folks who are watching virtually at home. And I need a minute though, so I can get my stuff together. I have a copy for you, Mr. Randall. I have printouts of everything for the Borough Council. Yeah, just you guys need down for anything. Yeah, I have one for you.
Put it right there.
I have them, but I have to make more with you. You have all. The staples are coming out of some of them. Kim, is it best for me to like take a chair and speak into this microphone? What would be best, do you think? Cause I hear that that one's not great.
Let me try. I can get you the other microphone.
Okay. You have it? Perfect, I'm gonna stand. But I will put my stuff over here. So. Okay, no, no. Oh, no, I want you all to see this. So if I stand here, can you see that or am I blocking your view?
You're good.
You're good? Okay, what about this side? Can you see? Am I blocking? Okay. No, I'm good, I don't mind. And then Kim is gonna control my, remotes. We have not practiced this, so please give us some time if there is a technology snafu. All right. So I'm gonna move that over there. Okay. So this presentation is just so that everyone understands the data and the information that we collected and that the committee reviewed to make our recommendation. As I said on the dais earlier, every council person is responsible for making their own individual decisions. We do not make a decision as a committee. We just put forth a recommendation. But to do that, we do take the many hands light model. Many hands make light work approach to Green Tree that has been happening for a very long time, well before I came onto council.
When you get elected to council, you do serve, as a chair of one committee, and then you serve, on to other committees. I chair the, Public Property and Facilities, Committee, which includes our pool, and you'll see some other stuff that we do here as well. And then I sit on 2 other committees. Those committees do change as, election seasons happen. So this became my committee when I took office. Previous to me, it was chaired, by Mr. Ray. I don't know who shared it previously before him. And then the makeup of my committee has changed, throughout seasons as well. Currently my committee at this point, prior to today, was myself, Mr. Panza, and Mr. Omanovich. We'll see how that changes in the future. So are we ready? So the presentation is going to take you through many different things, but 6 different main ideas. We're going to talk a little bit about our region. We're going to talk about Green Tree, the past, present, and future. We're going to talk about our facilities as a whole, our overview, the operations of the pool usage, and some additional information that we considered when making our recommendation. Okay, so our region, we are going to talk specifically about the Allegheny County region of Western Pennsylvania. So when we started this, we all know that we love the pool. I love the pool. I go often. My family has been members since we've moved here. I used to go before I even lived here. The pool is a gem of our community. We do agree on that. I think everyone in this room agrees on that. But we did take a look when we began our journey and thinking about the pool, and thinking about how else Green Tree stacks up in the county. So we have 130 municipalities in Allegheny County. Only 22 of them have municipally funded pools. There are many other private pools in the county. There's one up the street from my parents in Scott, and there's many all over the place. But we only have 22 in the region that are funded by taxpayer dollars. That in the city of Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh also funds 15 outdoor city pools. 7 municipal pools out of that 22 are in the general Green Tree area. This would include Scott, Dormont, Mount Lebanon, Crafton, Upper St. Clair, Crafton, Robinson. We have a lot of pools in our area. When you look at the entire county, the highest density of pools is in this little pocket of the west-south area of Allegheny County. Surprisingly, we were really surprised to see this. Altogether, there's less than 40 municipally funded pools in the region. I was honestly shocked by that information because I grew up in a community that had a pool. I spent my single years in a community that had a pool, and now I live in Green Tree. I never really considered that a lot of communities don't have pools. So that all led to this. And then out of the 7, we have 7 municipal pools in the area, and then we also have 3 city pools in the Green Tree area as well. So we have the pool in Brookline, we have Banksville, and we have Westwood that are all within the general region, where there's other pockets of the city that don't have 3 pools or have that many. Okay, all right. So then we took a look. We were like, okay, well, that's really interesting. There's not that many pools out there. We have one. How has Green Tree really shaped? So we took some information and looked at the data for Green Tree back when the pool was built and now. So we'll move on to that one. So how much has Green Tree changed since the pool was first built? The pool was built in 1960, and you can see that in the 60s, and you can see that in 1950, our census population, and if you hover over 1950, you can actually see that total. So it was 2,814 in 1950. We had a huge boom in the 60s. I think we can all understand why. That was suburban growth. Green Tree is a first-tier suburb. We are a first-ring suburb. So our growth period in the county was in the fifties and sixties, when our lands were being developed, like the farms that Miss Schwartz's family owned, which were bought and built and sold, to have, single family dwellings. That's also when, the fifties and sixties, or when our country saw the baby boom growth, right? So you can see, if you hover over 1960, or 1970, we then became the highest we've ever seen at 6,441. We have not ever come close to that since then. And that really is a product of the baby boom. That is a story that is told throughout our county. It's told throughout our whole country. First tier suburbs, people were moving out of the cities. They were settling in homes that were being built. Since 1960, Green Tree has lost about 8% of its population. That's a pretty stable number, all things considering. And then we are 25% smaller than we were at the peak in 1970. So you can see how it's stable. We also only have at this point, one of the reasons why we don't have tremendous growth in our community is because there is not a lot of residential lots for sale. We have been built. We were built in that lovely time where maybe you moved in this community, your parents moved into the community, or your grandparents sold their farm and let people build on their community. Go ahead.
Do you want to?
So then we took a look, we're like, okay, well, how likely is Green Tree likely to change in the future? Okay, so this slide overlays the census data through the years and the fertility rates. So fertility rates are what is used across the country to kind of determine how many births we can see. And that is between the ages, I want to say it's 14 to 45, but I could be wrong about that. I didn't write that down for this presentation. But it is steadily decreasing. It has for time. It's been declining for 30 years. And in 2024, we are once again at an all-time low, which we have been every year, except for 21, for when all the COVID babies were born. But it wasn't, we didn't see an increase in that year. It just wasn't an all-time low. We also have our wonderful comprehensive plan that our committee and community members put forth that says that by 2020, we saw that Green Tree did experience growth in population, reaching just under 5,000 people. And we're estimated to reach around 5,200 people by 2035. There's a lot of things that get put into that. That is an estimate number. And if you want to read more about that, I encourage you to take a look at the strategic plan. So then we wanted to kind of give everyone like we took a look at like all of our facilities and took a look at how much the pool is in terms of all of those facilities and amenities that are in our community. So Green Tree, we took a look at all of the facilities that we have, the amenities that we have. We have parks and trails, we have halls and pavilions, we have a gymnasium, we have a library, we have fields, and we have a pool. This is the overview of anticipated operational days per year. This is not saying they are used all of these days, but these are, well, the library is open all 303 of those days. So if they're open, people are using it. But the other ones, we can't really, I can't tell you if someone is at the park 365 days a year. I'm willing to bet that someone's probably walking somewhere or running or training for something every day. We have halls and pavilions. They are able to be rented any day of the year. We have a gymnasium that does close down. We do not have rentals in the gymnasium, basically between like Christmas and New Year's. Okay. The library is open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. That does account for holidays that they're closed as well. We have fields. The fields have, certainly people can use the fields and do, all of the time, but we do have what we would consider like a field season, which then the fields are, booked and active for all of the sporting events that happen, and the clubs and the people who rent them. And then we have the pool, which is open from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And but we anticipate it being open about 100 days of the year. So this gives you a sense of all of the things that we take in consideration and all of the amenities that our community offers and how they are used. That picture is mine. That is my son hanging out in Wilson Park. But he was little there. He's not little anymore. Okay. Move on. So then we took a look at Green Tree pool operations. So we took a look at like, what does it take? We asked the question, like, what does it take to operate the pool? We wanted to know, specifically, we were really digging into like the people that it takes to run the pool. So we'll move on to that one. So we know that the pool, I include this, of how long does the pool operate each year. So it is open May through August. These are the dates for 2024. This is what was listed on our website. This is a pretty typical season for us. We open on Memorial Day weekend. We are only open in the evenings until the kids get out of school. So our date that we go to all day hours can fluctuate based on when they finish up with school. But this was this year's season, and then we do have to go back to limited hours and then have some time closed in August to accommodate all of our college students and our high school students. We're going back to school and have much busier lives than we ever did when we were there. So we do have about 14 weeks of varying operating hours, and we operate in addition to like those 14 weeks of operating varying hours, we also know that with a pool, our operation is weather dependent. So it's generally, and this is on what is on the website, it's open on days that are at least 70 degrees and closes for inclement weather. So for the 2021 to 2023 seasons, the average opening days was 82. And then since we did have the time, since this was not presented in July, I was able to compile, or wasn't presented in August, I was able to compile the 2024 dates with Ms. Miller, and we were at 83 for actual. So all of this goes into operating. We have to think about this schedule. It is very complex. As someone who does scheduling for a living as part of my job, this is very, very complex. Okay, let's move on. So then we took a look, and like I said, specifically about how do we operate the pool? Who's there, right? So we do some things to know, and these are questions that we asked our borough manager, and answers to the questions that we asked in our meetings. So we do hire all qualified lifeguards who apply. That includes residents and non-residents. We do have non-residents who do work at the pool. Staff ages 14 to 17 are restricted to the limited hours when school is in session. That certainly plays into the fact of how and when we can open pools. And that is certainly something that all pools deal with. That's not particular to us. We do have a baby pool that is gated and it can be locked. So we do have some flexibility with that staffing because the baby pool can be unstaffed at times because we do have the ability to gate it and lock. We do offer pool rentals. We do include lifeguards for all the pool rentals. That's part of the cost. And then we do have a swim team that practices and meets at our facility. And the swim team lifeguards and the space of the pool are provided at the swim team at no cost to the team. So our positions by numbers, we have a full-time manager, a full-time assistant manager. We have 28 part-time guards is what we were able to hire this year. Part-time guards are, all of those, the manager, the assistant manager, and the lifeguards are all seasonal, applicants, and they're all seasonal employees who may or may not stay with us from year to year. Our staffing snapshot of like, okay, let's break this down even further. An 8.5-hour pool day requires 7 to 8 guards. The pool rentals also require having those 7 to 8 guards. And the swim meet and practice and meets, they get 2 guards and a manager or assistant manager. That's because they're not using the pool in the same way that we use it on the day-to-day. A lot of guards are also coaches for the swim team and contribute that way as well. Okay. So then we take a look at how much it does take to operate the pool. I bring this up because it's something that we get asked a lot about, but as was mentioned before, the pool, it is something that's budgeted. We do expect it to not, like, it's not something that we look to make money on, right? That's not the purpose of our amenities. It's something that we provide. But this is actually something that a lot of people ask about. It's people are curious, right? So you can see how this breaks down from year to year of what it cost and what the revenues, what we took in from the pool, and then our net. So the net is in parentheses, that's you know, the negative. But I agree, I don't really think of that as a negative, that's just what was netted. But the average daily net, so what it costs, right, daily is 2,581. That's based on an average per season of that 82 open days. This year we're open 83, and our numbers will change a little bit, but you can see how much that costs. Okay. So then we took a look at pool usage, right? So we wanted to talk, our committee wanted to talk about like, well, who's using the pool? How do we use it? And this was honestly the most surprising thing for me. I can't speak for the rest of my committee, but this was very surprising to me as someone who uses the pool, who pays for a caregiver pass for my mom to take my children to the pool because my husband and I work full time. Like this was surprising to me, So we took a look at who buys pool passes. So you can see the total residents living in Green Tree is the top number. And Kim, if you would hover over that. So 4,941 people live in Green Tree. And then our resident pass holders make up the largest number of people who buy pool passes. And this year, this is 2024 data, we had 819 residents buy passes. So that is 16.5% of our community who buys passes. You can scroll down to the non-residents. We had 224 non-residents buy passes this year. That number fluctuates from year to year. When we were discussing this, it was a lot harder to find this number as we went past, but we paid particularly close attention to it this last year. And then, those of you who don't know, seniors in our community do get a senior pass that does not expire at the pool. And we calculate how many active seniors use the pool. So this is the number of seniors who have a pass that does not expire and who use the pool in any given year. Because those pool passes don't expire for seniors, we don't have any number of being able to say, we don't have any other reliable way to say, oh, this senior still lives here. We take a look at who is actively using it for the seniors. So yeah, with that is another 5% of our population. If you take a look at who's buying, and I'll quote the active seniors as buying the pool passes because they are actively invested in it and use the pool. So then we took a look at how many people use the pool. We started keeping statistics. The borough started keeping statistics, not me personally. Started keeping statistics regarding the pool attendance in 2021. These are the reported numbers. I understand that there are lots of other numbers that have been floating around. I can only give you on what has been reported to the borough. So 2021, we had an average attendance of 107. 2022, an average attendance of 102. That was a rainier summer. In 2023, an average attendance of 106. You can see my family enjoying the pool in all of those years. That's my daughter in 2021 eating her bag of chips. That is my mom and my aunt and my daughter in 2022. And that is my son and my daughter, probably closing down the pool, considering they have clothes on, in 2023. So the highest reported attendance during those years, that's the highest reported attended day outside of 4th of July, is 293. So then we took a look because we had time, and correct, when we made these decisions, we did take a look at 2023 and 2022 and 2021 data, because that is the full data that we had. But now we're in August, and so we can take a look at this last year. So we did take a look at what pool attendance looked like in 2023. So you can see those numbers go up and down and up and down. The highest attended pool day for the year was 376. We're gonna get into that in a little bit. And the lowest attended day. Does anyone want to take a guess of what the lowest attended day was? 7, pretty close. And we actually hit 7 a few times, okay? So if you take a look at what we recorded, so pool attendance, we had 23 days that the pool attendance was between 1 and 100 people. We're obviously not counting days where the pool was closed. We had 27 days where 101 to 200 people attended the pool. And then we had 201 to 300 was 20 days. And we had 301 plus, so anything above 301 was 10. The average recorded attendance was 166. This does include cash admissions. It does include non-residents and residents coming to the pool outside of pool pass users. So you can see that kind of makes sense, right? If we have if we have 27 days where we had 101 to 200 people here, of course the average is around 166. That makes a lot of sense. I will be honest that this was some of the more like surprising information for me. I knew every year that we had some pool attendance days that were really low. I was surprised that we had as many as we did that were between 1 and 100 in a very hot year. In a year that we were able to keep the pool open for long stretches of time and had no rain consistently after it. There. So then what we did was we always want to take a look at like the average day of the pool. So that's my daughter jumping off the diving board for the very first time this year. Super excited. She passed her swim test. She jumped off the diving board. It's a very big moment in our house. So I don't think she did that on Sunday, August 25th. That would have been during a weekday. But we chose a day that was in that 100 to 200 range to show you what an average day looked like. And we actually chose one that was pretty high up, the 198. Looking at the pool footage, I have weekly meetings with our borough manager. I can't say what my other council members do, but I meet with our borough manager every week by phone or by video conference in the evenings, and we discuss all things related to my committee. And so we do look at pool footage. If there is an incident or something, we review all of that. So we looked at like 21 and we're not 21, 2023. We looked at some when we were discussing this and making a recommendation. But for the sake of tonight, I did go back and get that 2024 data for you. So this is an average day at the pool. We had 198 people come. The weather was sunny. We had a high of 85. There was no precipitation. And you can check my sources on that as well. So we're going to take you hour by hour to see what the pool looks like, so you can see what we looked at when we were making our recommendations. So this is the diving board on Sunday at 1:03 p.m. I do want to point out that in case people get confused, if you see the timestamp up there, say 2:03, That's because that was not adjusted for daylight saving. I don't think it adjusts automatically. So when the screen captures come to us, or Judy, we know that it has to go back the hour. So at 1:03 p.m., it was 85 degrees. And this is the view of the diving board in the deep end. You can also see the baby pool from this view, and you'll see that there's no one there quite yet. You can change the. So then we have the shallow end view. This is where I think you'll see that this is where we have the most activity. In both of these pictures, you can see people sunbathing, you can see people chatting, there might be some playing going on, there's no one on the diving board at that time, but you can see the day starting and people are congregating in that shallow area and definitely on those perimeters. So then we take a look at the 2 o'clock view. It is 83 degrees at this time. There's no one in the baby pool right now, because all those little ones are probably sleeping. And you can see that we have a couple of kids who've lined up for the diving board. I love watching the kids jump off the diving board. It's always hilarious and so much fun. And we have a lot of people hanging out at the pool, sunbathing. We've got some swimming going on there, and there's one lap person running laps right now. And then this is the shallow end view. So it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's 85. You can see, like I said, there's that one lap lane person. And again, the same thing, a lot of stuff in the, shallow area. You can see we've got a group of adults, maybe some mixed groups of people hanging out, talking, and some kids, looks like a group of like 4 maybe hanging over there. And based by the way they're sitting there, I bet they're playing catch or something or some game. So we can move on. Let me take a look at 3 o'clock p.m. So I'm laughing, someone is laughing because they might notice that we have some people who are regulars at the pool and love it so much that you're gonna see their pictures pop up quite a lot. And that's awesome if they're here because they love the pool, I love it. And I said, I can't really identify any one of these pictures. I tried, but you know, their faces are blurred out. So we are taking a look at the diving board view here. So no one is on the diving board right now, but we have a couple of people in that deeper well. We have someone's lap swimming, and again, we have friends congregating and talking. So this is the shallow end at 3 o'clock. It's 84 degrees. We have definitely some action down there, right? We've got a group of kids, looks like they're playing. We've got someone on like a floaty over there. We have a group of adults hanging out and talking, and I'm actually willing to bet that my husband might be in that picture. And we have some lots of adults and hanging out with children, or just hanging out in the pool area. And a lap swimmer, or 2 actually. Okay. Here we are at 4 o'clock. It is 81 degrees. We've got some people hanging out. Definitely more of those older children hanging out in that deeper end, and the diving board is activated once again. Lots of similar stuff hanging out on those edges. Slip. All right, so now we're at 4 o'clock and we're looking at the shallow end. It's 81 degrees. You can see that some of it has dispersed, right? It is not as full down at that other end. We still see a group of adults. There might be a floaty over there. Some kids playing, again, on the edges. You can see some adults with them, monitoring what their kids are doing, and having a good day at the pool. So 5 o'clock comes along. It is still 81 degrees. What a gorgeous day in Green Tree it was. And you can see we still have a lot of the same folks have maybe welcomed some additional neighbors and friends. That same group of bigger kids is really down at that end, doing a lot of the stuff, and we still are jumping off the diving board. There is no one swimming in the lap lanes right now. Oh no, there's one. I missed him. All right, so here's the shallow end, right? Looks very similar to the picture we last saw. We've got some of those adults or the group that was migrating on the side have migrated more to the middle. Maybe it's the same people, maybe it's not. And we've got some action hanging out down there. And then we're getting ready to close the pool down at 6 o'clock. We have, I love it. It's like those same group of kids diving off that diving board. It's the best thing ever. What a summer. Jumping off the diving board. There's lots of people hanging out all along that edge there. It looks like there's a group of maybe like 8 people. And there is no one in the lap lane this time. And yeah, we'll take a look at the shallow end. Got some people walking around. And so we're looking at the shallow end. There is definitely some kids maybe doing some like cheer stands over there. We've got a couple of kids at the end, someone walking in. Very few adults along the edge in the shallow end at this point. All right, so we walked you through a typical day at the pool. That's what you would see typically. So we're taking a look. That was a weekend, it was a Sunday, and it was one of the most highest attended days in that main group of days. It was actually higher than the average that we showed you. The average is 166, we showed you a day that was 198. So what did the busiest day of the pool look like? So this was Saturday, July 28th, and there are 376 people coming into the pool this day. The temperature was 91, there was no precipitation. I constantly spell precipitation wrong, so I got it wrong there. I'm not gonna make any mistakes for it, we're human, and I need spell check. All right, so let's take a look at what the busiest day of the pool looked like. So it is 1 o'clock, the pool is starting. We see people, it is a very hot day in Green Tree. You can see that there are some folks sitting on the edge, which we saw a lot the first time. There's one, maybe 2 lap lane swimmers. It looks like that there might be 1 or 2, maybe 1 person hanging, like getting ready to go into the baby pool. I can't really tell without my glasses. But there's a couple of people sitting at the edge, socializing, having a good time, getting their Sunday ready to go. And then here is 1 o'clock. So you can see we've got some folks sitting on the edge. We've got some different little pods of kids and adults hanging out in the area. Again, you can see that there, people are kind of clustered. A lot of hanging out. There's a little bit of middle action there, but we're still pretty close to the edge of the pool. And it's 87 degrees. So at 2 o'clock, it's 88. And you can see that we have some folks on the diving board. There are definitely at least 1 family or 1 person kind of walking towards the baby pool area. And we've got clusters of adults in this 5-foot area and some people hanging out on the sides. I don't see any lap swimmers. So we do have like 2 people hanging out in the lap lane. My guess is they got their whistle blown pretty soon after that. But we have, again, you can see the end. There's a lot of people hanging out on the sides. But if you look at the general pool area, there is a lot of open space. So this is the 3 o'clock diving board view. There is 2 people on the diving board. I don't see anyone in that like deep well. There are some lap folks and a lot of congregating, hanging out. It looks like we have some adults who might have brought in like a younger child in that area. And yeah, people are hanging out, talking, having fun. And then this is the 3 o'clock shallow end view. Again, you can see we've got some pods still happening. There's a lot of people along the edges, right? We can take a look and see we've got a lot of congregating at the step area. And we have like groups of 2, 3, maybe upwards of like 5 or 6 people in that shallow end area.
That's like 50 people, that's probably.
So, okay, so let's move on to 4 o'clock. I think crowded is a very relative term. So let's take a look at the 28th. It is 4 o'clock. It is 90 degrees. We have a lot of people who are still on the edges. We have a group of, looks like adults hanging out and talking. We've got some people walking, with their clothes on. We've got more people walking in the back. And we have some people on the diving board. There's some action happening here, but there is a lot of space and there's one lap lane user. Okay. I'm sorry for that. That's a screen grab mark on there. But the Sunday, July 28th at 4 o'clock p.m., you can see that the shallow end has started to filter out. We do have someone who's coming up the, not the diving board, but the slide. We have a couple of people still sitting on the edges, and it definitely looks like that group of kids who are like doing tosses or cheerleading moves are hanging out again. At 5 o'clock, it is 91 degrees, and a lot of those folks have left. It was very hot. They had a wonderful day at the pool. At 5:02, again, you can see if people are going home. They had great days at the pool. We've got a couple of people over in that area to the left-hand side, which we tend to see a lot of jumping, kids, you know, getting caught by adults or teens. That's where we saw the kids like doing the cheer moves and areas like that. And a couple of people spotted around the edge, but a lot of open space there. And then at 6 o'clock, it picks up as people probably finished their dinner and came to the pool. You can see there's people in the baby pool area. Actually, when you zoom in on that, you can actually see there's a couple strollers over there. There is a lap swimmer, and we've got a couple of people hanging out on the edge and pulling off in that 5-foot area. And then you can see that there's not a whole lot of change in the shallow end area. That congregation on the left side, where they're probably jumping or, you know, practicing their moves, has moved on, and just a few other people hanging out on the sides. So that was the busiest day of the pool. So how do people use the pool? So we know, by the photos that we look at as a committee, also by use, by community feedback that we heard at our meetings, that we've heard from individuals, people who work at the pool, people who go and are engaged with the pool, and what we can see that the pool is used for a lot of different things. So the picture you see in the back is another average day at the pool. It's a Monday. All the other pictures I showed you were from the weekend. So this is a weekday at 2 o'clock where your total attendance was 216, but this was the highest and hottest temperature of the summer. Our hottest day on record was Monday, July 15th, and it reached 96 degrees that day. So this is an average Monday. We had 216 people on the hottest day of the summer, but that's Monday. We had lap swimming. How people use the pool is lap swimming, baby pool wading, water aerobics, swim team meets and practices, sunbathing, reading, socializing, playing in the grass, private pool parties, slides and diving board, all of the fun things that make up. So we talked about that as a committee. And then some additional information that we asked from a borough manager and then discussed as a committee. So this chart compares Green Tree versus other communities. So if we go back to the beginning of this, we talked about how there was 22 municipalities in Green Tree that had municipal pools. We wanted to find out what their square foot was, if they had a baby pool, and then what their population was, and how much square foot they have per capita of the people that live in the pool. We reached out to many. These are the folks who got back to us. Robinson's on here, but they ended up not getting back to us. But you can take a look. The yellow is highlighted, that's the current. So we have, we maintain the largest pool per capita. So for our size of our community, we have the largest pool. And then at this point, this was when we were having meetings with the community and the community was engaged. And we had, two pool, concepts that were, risen to the top. So that was the C12 and the C1. And then you can see that, C1, was a much larger pool, by square footage. And that actually puts us at the same size as Cranberry. We asked for Cranberry's numbers. In addition, they're the outlier here because they're not in Allegheny County. But they are a community that has experienced a lot of growth in the region, and we were very curious to see what theirs was. So Green Tree maintains the largest pool for a community per capita for a region our size currently. And no matter which decision we went with, that would continue to be true. Okay. And so then at the end of the day, we really sat down. We knew from our community feedback that there were two that had continued to rise to the top. So we took a look at comparing the pool concepts and laid down that information. So if you could take a look, the top is the current existing size pool, and then C12 and then C1. So you can see that C1 still has a turning depth of 4.6. It was never 5 feet, it was always going to be 4.6. And we had discussions about that. And so when we took a look at the total and how much usable space there would be, because remember, C1 was also the entry that was, what's the word I'm looking for? Beach entry. Yeah, the gradual, the beach entry. And we had heard at those meetings that people did not want a beach entry for the main pool. Keep that, put that in the baby pool. And the baby pool design does have a beach entry. And so we took a look at this, and then we see that there was a difference of 800 square feet with C12, and then the user load difference of 32 in the main pool. So that was a difference of 15 people total when you total the whole thing, adults and babies, because we are, that baby pool is being stretched out. And then the C1 absolutely was going to have an increase, right? 2,553 square foot and a user load of 242. But as Ms. Schwartz was talking about earlier, which is not completely reflected here because all of that information is available, that was all, a lot of that was beach entry. And so yes, it would have had an increase of 259 users total. But all of the data that we collected and went through this showed that we really weren't seeing those numbers coming to the pool consistently year after year. We don't have a large, our community is not the size of Cranberry. Our community is not the size of Scott or Mount Lebanon. And so our committee made the recommendation to vote on C12. And then that's where our committee stops. Beyond that, that is how everyone voted is their own individual of how they voted. So if you can slide to the next one. So these were the last, the first and the closing day of the library, or I'm sorry, the library of the pool. The library's always on my mind, folks. These were pictures taken by me, not by the pool security cameras. I'm taken by me because I'm at the pool and I snap pictures of my children. So this is Memorial Day 2024. This is probably around 4 o'clock. And then Labor Day, my family, like we closed down the pool. So that was probably around 4 o'clock again. But these have that different perspective of taking a look at how many people were in the grass and really just to celebrate that no matter what, we had a really good pool season. And that is the conclusion to our meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barron, for that report.
Have some questions? May I ask some questions about the report?
Yeah.
Thanks, Ms. Barron, for that presentation. Couple of questions. In your data, I didn't see numbers with children under 6. Was that considered?
We do consider that, when we are talking about it. That is not data that, is supplied. But we do talk about that. And we did also take a look, and I did not include it because I wanted to make sure that everything was, that we could get through the information without getting too far into the weeds. We do take a look at the, census data, of how many children we have in this community and how that would, might change over time.
How many?
I do not recall off the top of my head.
Yes.
I don't remember all the time, I am, yeah.
You were referring in your presentation, the committee, I'm assuming, it sounded like, I'll check what you said, but it sounded like you were showing pictures from August and you were basing decisions based on that, but
No, I'm sorry, that wasn't clear. So we did, when we put forth, a recommendation, we did have to look at 23, right? Because that's the last time we had the full year. So we had done that same practice with, 23 data. But because, we listened to our community and we heard that people wanted to think about 2024, because they weren't able to deliver all of this at the August meeting. I was able to then go back and, compile all of that so you could see it for this year. But it's the same information that we looked at, but I just gave you the most updated data because that is what people have been asking.
No, yeah, I get the data. I'm talking about the pictures. It appeared you were making a case for a smaller pool with not many people there. I'm wondering if Mr. Panza, Mr. Romanovich, who, Ron, respectfully, I've never seen you at the pool. I'm wondering what data he used.
I was there 4th of July.
He used this data.
Well, but was the data that
Weren't you there were you there 4th of July?
No, it's on the beach.
So
Okay, well,
I wanna-
saying, that's why.
I don't want to get into the tit for tat, like this is very late. So I'm trying to explain. So he's a member of my committee. As members of my committee, we did this exact same thing. We looked through 2023 pictures, we looked at the data throughout the process, right? But because tonight, I wanted to bring you the most current data, and we have it now, right? I provided you all of the 2024 information. Yeah, it is in line with what we had previously seen. And you can see what the averages were, right? I showed you the busiest day at the pool. And so that is in line with what we would have previously seen, but I felt it was in our best interest for everyone here to see 2024.
The most important thing to me is that it seems like the most critical piece of data, you provide a lot of pictures and data based on attendance rate. The most critical piece of data, maybe I'm missing it, is the feedback from the pool users and the residents. Was there a survey conducted? You mentioned that there were at the workshop, a few people had mentioned they don't want beach entry. Where's the data, the hard data?
It would be in our notes from that meeting, that is public record. And that, no, we did not, there was no survey, done. We used the data that we have at hand to make those decisions and make a recommendation. Where it goes from once we make that recommendation is on everybody on this panel. And that's what we looked at to make that recommendation.
So I'd like you to help me understand the critical decision point here. Earlier, Mr. Barron and yourself said that people in this room and in social media and on the petition are the vocal silent minority. However,
that's not what was said.
the vocal
minorities.
Also,
I'm
vocal
not a
minorities.
council. Do not bring me into this.
You made a reference.
So here's where I can't speak for, no, I will respond to you.
I haven't finished the question.
Go ahead, go for it.
So you're saying that you're not willing to pause the pool design or listen to the people that are here that signed the petition that, and I think I asked you, do you believe that the people here, the vocal minority, the small vocal minority, that's right, the small vocal minority said, yes, I
I
believe.
do believe they are the minority.
Okay, however, you made a decision not to go beach entry based on about 3 people that were on the workshop. So what is the difference between almost 450 people signing a petition to say, please pause the design to consider our needs, compared to the decision you made to not do beach entry with about, let's just call it a dozen people at the workshop? What, help me understand how you can make one decision, a few people saying we don't want it, versus many saying we want you to read it.
So again, I only speak for myself when it comes to voting. When it comes to the committee and making the recommendation, one of the things that we did consider was that the beach entry was going to be in the baby pool. In those meetings and in meetings that you were in when you were a member of my committee and other meetings, we did discuss what would happen if we did have a beach entry at the pool, at the main pool. And one of the things that has been consistently voiced as a concern is how often that pool might have to be shut down because some child had a number 2 accident in it. So we, as the committee, when we were discussing this, when we put forth to change it, not to change it, but to say that we wanted to have step entry, we took into consideration the fact that by having an attractive, upgraded baby pool that had beach entry, that would entice people to use that area, and that is for, you know, younger children. And then any, you know, number 2 accidents that happen there, has a small impact on the larger community using the pool. Additionally, we saw when we reviewed pictures, when we discussed, by nature of going to the pool, all of the things that a lot of people sit on the sides, and that the step entry gets pretty cramped, right? You saw that in the pictures, a lot of people sitting around. You know, kids like to play on it. We as a committee thought when we put in that we want steps there, that allows for that to spread out, and there's a lot more space for people to come in and out of the pool.
Yeah, so I appreciate that, they refer to it as code brown. I was originally against having a separate baby pool because of the additional cost. I received feedback from the residents saying no, and the pool manager, assistant manager, no, we need a baby pool. And I was able to change my mind based on feedback. At what point is the feedback that we're hearing from the residents of this borough, at what number are you able to commit to the public?
No, I will not commit to a number.
Do we need?
Why do I need to commit to a number?
If it's 2,000, would that be enough?
I will not commit to a number. We speak for, when we vote, and Mr. Ray, I can't speak for you, I can't speak for other people on the committee, but since this was correct direction, since the question was directed at me, I will answer and then I am done. I will not have a number. We speak for everyone in this community. You saw by the number of people who use this pool, the vast majority of our community does not use the pool, is not buying passes, are not coming to it, don't realize that they have no desire to. So I speak for all of those people. In addition, I understand, I said in multiple meetings here, in our regular meetings, I said it multiple times, I'm completely new and sympathize that this is an emotional decision for many people. Absolutely agree. And I will say that my own family uses the pool, and there are certain things that, yes, like we would want that maybe someone else would have wanted. Like I did everything I could to take away those emotions from myself and to put forth a pool design that I personally, when I voted for, thought that it was the best pool for our entire community and not just the people who use it. I understand that people want to see certain things in it, but I said from the beginning that no one was ever going to get everything they wanted, because what you want is different than I want, that's different than what Ms. Schwartz wants, Mr. Panza, anyone sitting up here.
I appreciate it. You don't have to respond to this. I appreciate that. However, I just disagree that you have to represent everybody else. Well, what is the voice of everybody else? How did that influence your decision to go with the smaller pool that costs more money? That's the question that I think still hasn't been answered yet. Respectfully, it has not been answered.
Okay, I'll answer that right now, I'll answer it right now, I'll answer it, let me answer
I
it.
wasn't asking you the question. I'm not done
You
yet.
said it wasn't answered, let me,
Hold on, just let him finish.
I really wanna answer it.
But we.
You can't.
but
You
we-
can't.
You
Just
know,
be
you're
patient.
making,
Be patient.
you're making decisions that affect the borough. Yes, not everybody uses the pool, it's great. But the people that do have they're very passionate about how that pool is designed. And why not listen to the stakeholders that use that pool? Why make a decision? And I haven't seen the data on the other residents that you're representing that wants a smaller pool. I haven't seen it, I'm sorry. And it's frustrating that we have these people and the people that have signed the petition that are very vocal about what they want. They were the people that use the pool all the time. I'm sure many of them were in the pictures that you showed tonight. And I haven't, like, if there are people that show up to the next meeting and say, no, there's maybe 3 people here that want the current design. I haven't heard from anybody else. It just doesn't make sense, and I haven't seen any supporting evidence that the decision that your committee put forward makes, and in fact, if you look at the way we voted on it, we asked that designer to go back because he came back to us with a design that was 400 square feet smaller than the existing pool. We asked him to go back to increase it to near the amount of square footage we have in the existing pool. We came back with an even smaller design. It just doesn't make sense. And I think, if you're able to find a way to justify the rationale behind whether it's your personal vote or the committee's recommendation to answer the question, Ron, now directed to you. Why does a smaller pool that's more expensive make sense?
Thank you. Now I get to answer this. Okay. 2 keys were this sheet that compares our swimming pool to Cranberry's, okay? The C1 design is 10,000 square foot, Cranberry swimming pool is 10,000 square foot. Our population is 4,900, Cranberry's is 33,000 people. Okay, so you're asking what I made a decision. In my mind, I've been thinking, wait, if Cranberry can get by with 10,000 and 10,000 square foot, 33,000 people, then Green Tree doesn't need the same size of swimming pool as Cranberries. That was point number 1. Point number 2, the active minority that came to our workshop meetings and gave feedback, I heard many more times, C1 takes all the grass out and we don't want to lose the grass area around the swimming pool. I heard that more times than I heard, let's get rid of the grass. No, I'm saying honestly.
Let him talk, please.
So I don't go to the swimming pool very often, so I don't have much stake in, it's not like I'm going there and I'm trying to get my way because I want some. I'm trying to make a decision based on the facts and what the people have said. And I heard more people say they did not like the C1 design because it takes all the grass out than I did saying I like the C1 design. And factor 3, in the C1 and the C12, both have a depth of 4.6 inches. So it's not like C1 had 10 foot in the lap lane. So that was, it was non-committal where whether we went with C1 or C12, you were still getting 4.5 feet. That 4.5 feet is in C12. So finally, I guess I could reason it by saying, basically, this C12 is smaller, but it's more efficient. And I will tell you why. You take a 1977 Cadillac, it's the biggest car you could get. You could seat 6 people in it comfortably across the row seats. A 2024 BMW SUV is half its size, but with the 3 rows, it can seat 7 people because of technology and new design. And so the smaller BMW is a little bit more expensive, but so much more efficient than the big 1977 gas guzzling Cadillac.
Okay, sometimes your analogy, I appreciate sometimes your analogy don't make sense to me, maybe it's you.
Honestly, that doesn't make sense.
Why does the smaller design costs more money?
That I can't
We
answer.
did, yes,
Why?
we did discuss this in our workshop meetings, and it has to do with the way that the pool is designed and pitched. When you have, and Ms. Miller, I'm pretty sure you can also, agree with this. When we had those discussions with, we asked this specific question, we asked it in a public meeting and we asked it in our own committee meetings. It has to do with the way that the, pool is pitched and how it is leveled out. When you have that zero entry pool, which is that the larger design, it is one slab that has a very gradual, there are not twists and turns and things that they're taking into consideration. That is what makes it a more complicated and more expensive design. We have discussed that, it has been discussed in these meetings, and we have asked that question multiple times.
We've asked the designer and he has not answered that question.
He answered it in one of our meetings, we were in a
I'd like
meeting
that.
when we discussed it.
It's in the
yeah.
minutes from one of the meetings.
Makes 3 quick points, I mean, and it's getting late and.
You are permitted.
Well,
to
it's not
make
that. You know, we did agree we were going to discuss this in the workshop meeting. So, I mean, can this conversation continue? I mean, we agreed in the workshop meeting, we're going to continue the discussion.
Just three quick points.
You did not.
No, we didn't.
We did. Did we not, David?
No, but we can't put that motion on
He wants to bring up to put it on the agenda for the next meeting,
And we-
not the workshop.
And I have a point about that, Mr. Solicitor. There are actually 4 reasons why you can add a item to the agenda. You gave us 3. Do you know the 4th?
I'm not off the top of my head, Mr.
The
Ray.
4th is, and this is right from the law, business arising during meeting. If during the conduct of a meeting, a resident or taxpayer brings a matter of agency business that is not listed on the meeting agenda to the attention of the agency may take official action to refer to the matter to staff, if applicable, for the purpose of researching the matter for inclusion on the agenda of a future meeting, or if the matter is de minimis in nature and does not involve the expenditure of funds or entering into a contract agreement, the agency may take official action on that.
I would not classify this as de minimis, Mr. Ray.
What about the part where if a resident brings the matter of agency business that is not listed on the meeting agenda? There are probably a dozen or so residents that came up and said, we want to.
Yeah, that was pre Coleman.
2021, I have it right here.
Yeah, 2021, Coleman was 2023. That's what we said. They changed it. I totally disagree with it, but they changed it. 2021, yes. 2023, no.
There's not a 4th reason?
Not to my knowledge, Mr. Ray. I could research.
Yeah, if you
that.
could, please, I'd appreciate that.
Real quick.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, you may.
Okay, I'll be very brief. The C1, the 10,000 square feet, I don't think that's what the residents are asking for. That's not what I'm asking for, the 10,000 square feet.
Correct,
I know.
Mr. Mayor, this was just a summary of where we got to.
Right.
That's.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, they're asking for something more compatible, which C12 was leaning 7,100. They were trying to get it up to, and then they went down. So anyhow, so that's the first point. Second point is I'm glad you got the 2024 data because it's really different than the 2021, 2022, 2023. And as you point out, on 27 days, they were between 101 and 200. 20 days between 201 and 300, and 10 days over 300. So I just want to make sure that's of the record that there are high attendance on a number of days over 200 and over 300. The only other point I want to make on resident pass holders, you indicated 819 residents. Does that include the children, the whole family?
It includes every single person who has a pass. It does include, like my family, we have 4 passes, it includes all 4 of us.
So 819 residents have pass holders, and then you said the senior citizens are hard to determine. But probably when you take the senior citizens and the resident pass holders, there's 20% of Green Tree residents actually have a pass holder to the pool,
Correct.
Okay, so 20%, that doesn't count the ones like me, when my grandkids come, we go to the poll. So it's higher than 20% of the people in Green Tree
So-
that use the poll.
We talked about that slide specifically was just talking about pass holders.
Correct.
I just want to be clear
Yeah.
because that's muddling some numbers there.
Right, so that slide that you indicate has 20% of the Green Tree residents have pass holders, right? 1 out of 5. And Green Tree is a pass holder, but you would agree more than 1 out of 5, like me, go to the poll and it's not, and I.
Yeah, so I did some math. Let me see if I can find it.
But-
I didn't include that because this was not part of what we had discussed. So our total pool attendance for the year, the entire year, in 2024, was 13,258. So that, we can break that number down, and I don't have that in front of me because that's not what we reviewed, right? I only present what we reviewed to give everyone an idea. But it does break down. It's a lot of, repeated pass holders. And the number of, individuals of like who's paying like you, we're just saying, Mr. Mayor, I think you're a senior, so you. I understand, yeah, but they would be non-residents, right? So, we do have those numbers, and it is still a very small amount of non-resident or residents who are paying to get into the pool. And you see those numbers flux on the days that it's really hot.
We might have up to 25%, 20% in pass holders, another 5% comes up.
I don't feel comfortable saying that.
My only point is 25% is not a de minimis, not a small number. That's 1 out of 4 people in Green Tree using the poll. It's a pretty significant amount, in my opinion. That was my only comment. Thank you.
Mr. Ray, I did confirm it can only be de minimis in nature to be brought forth during a meeting by a resident or member of the public.
There's an or, what I'm reading, it is from 2023, there's an or if the matter is the minutes.
What I'm reading is an and. May be raised by a resident or taxpayer, and the matter is de minimis, and does not involve the expenditure of funds or entering into a contract or agreement, which means that there is a requirement that it be de minimis.
Yeah, I'm reading some, so, no. I'll just, sure, yeah. Would this council be?
Hey, Ms. Barron, you finished?
I am finished, yeah.
Okay, one more question about the public property. Would this council be interested in entertaining a borough-wide survey to gather more feedback on the pool?
Feedback regarding what?
Emily,
Like, that's very general, that's very general.
so fun, so.
Oh, that's really exalting.
All right, that's it. We're moving on. Mr. Ray, please move on. You want to do public safety, you are permitted, please.
Yeah, I would appreciate,
Public
additions
safety.
to the public safety committee so that we can interview police officers. But I'm sorry, I take that back. It's not why I need.
No, the police
I would
officer
appreciate
interviewed
it.
by all
I
council.
would appreciate if this council would respond to, the borough manager's doable. Make yourself available to interview the police officers, not everybody, you did, not everybody did. I don't have responses where I have no's, there were, let me get my data here. 7 dates were offered 14 times, Mr. Pans and Mr. Tory, have not responded or.
I think I already responded on a couple days for interviews. But that's here and there.
Oh, it is here.
We'll be happy to look at that and make sure we.
It's here because we need to hire, we have 6.
That's fine. You're right.
If I may say tomorrow, I'm happy to reach out.
Yeah, just do that.
Finalize it for the first week in October. It might be better only because I have to wait until the 19th to ensure that civil service completes the meeting. So I think for the candidates, I think it would be best to schedule for the week.
We're supposed to have a-
November.
No, if you interviewed on the week of October the 1st, then we could make appointments
Special
on
meeting.
at the October meeting. On the 7th.
Yeah,
Because it's plenty of time to make the appointments for the 7th. So if we interview like on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, then we can make an appointment on the 7th.
okay. And we
Are we
have.
supposed to have a meeting tonight for a interview? For civil service?
I need public safety.
Oh, well, we were, okay, fine, thank you, let's move on.
We had two applicants, one was supposed to be interviewed tonight, but
We had two people here ready.
I need the public safety committee.
Yeah, there was two people plus you were ready at 6 o'clock or whatever it was, and you weren't here and you canceled. So just so it's official.
Did not cancel, I emailed Monday this afternoon.
Okay.
To have
Move on,
the interview after the meeting.
Move on,
One of the
please.
Candidates is here, so would you be?
move on, please.
We have one of the candidates here, would you be willing to stay after the meeting to interview again?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Let's move on. Of course you. Let's just move on.
That's in my room.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
We're gonna move on to recreation programming, Mr. Payne.
Thank you. I believe, there's something this weekend, Oktoberfest, that's right. Yes, Green Tree Oktoberfest is this weekend. We have the president of Oktoberfest here. Looking forward to everyone come and enjoy Oktoberfest. So we can be this nice community, enjoying everyone and enjoying what we do for the community. And I would like to thank Mrs. Short for bringing up the other items for recreation at the beginning of this meeting. Thank you. And I do owe her a volunteer at the farmers market, so I better do it this Thursday or I will not live up to what I said in public. So that is all I have for my committee at this time.
Thanks very much. And just the time, the only thing I have on the president's report is just to echo your thoughts. We got, Oktoberfest is a extremely big deal and hopefully we'll have nice weather and a good turnout. That's all I have. Ms. Miller, Angela.
Again, in interest of time, hopefully next month we'll get some of our lifeguards here that, made some very important saves this summer, recognize them. And, really just, we were very fortunate this year to have a great group of people work at the pool. I think everybody will agree with it being such a good, dry summer. We were busier than we ever were. And I thank the full staff for really showing up and bringing out and really giving us a great block-free summer.
Yes. At this time, I would like to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting to the workshop meeting on.
No, it's not an adjourn to the workshop. The workshop is a separate meeting.
It's not an official candidate.
It's not advertised?
It's not advertised.
It's
not a council meeting.
no, we don't make
Okay.
decisions. It's not a meeting.
No decision.
Adjourn this meeting as is.
Thank you so much. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.